All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Weare Board of Selectmen for December 20th, 2021. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We started at 6:30, interviewed a potential candidate for the transfer station, which brings us to Director Knapp.
No, public comment.
We're going to let this man move along. Come on.
Thank you. Here to request to hire 2 part-time employees for the transfer station, just per diem on-call basis when we need them. Just to add to the pool. We had a couple guys retire, and just adding some to the pool. One is here tonight, Dana Dearborn, and the other one, some of you may or may not know, William Straw would like to come back. So
Is it the same rate?
for him, no. Yes, for the 2 of them.
For the 2 of them, yes, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's $14.84 an hour, which is terrible, but, any questions?
Nope.
No.
I'll entertain a motion from the board.
I move to we hire Dana Dearborn and William Starr as per diem for the transfer station at the rate of $14.84 per hour.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome aboard, sir. Thank you.
All set? You go home if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was why we did it fast. All
Yeah.
right. Public comment. So. Okay.
All right.
Brings us to public comment. Frank?
Thank you, Frank Campana. A couple of things. I'd like to make a comment on meeting before last when you set the tax rate. A couple of things that I noticed. First of all, I requested that you put the taxpayer first that night, and it did not happen, unfortunately. So you guys are going to do what you want to do. Selectman Van, I'll do it this way. Selectman Van, he thought it should be more of what you had. You had a tax rate fee in front of you. One of the options, which you kind of seemed to settle on, was option D, $650,000 to return to reduce. Selectman Van, as you were discussing it, thought it should be more, and he left it at that. No reason. It would have been interesting to know why he thought it should have been more. Maybe he should have stepped up to the plate and voiced why it should have been more. At least you could have discussed it. Selectman Osborne, he wanted to know what $600,000 would do. So John was, Selectman Osborne, as I have seen him do in the past, he always likes to try to find a midpoint or something less, or in some cases something more when it comes to employee raises. I remember probably a couple years ago, Social Security was at 2.5%. You folks were discussing a 3% raise for the non-union employees. John thought it should be 2.5%. Well, John went along with the majority and went 3%. So that's not looking out for the taxpayers, either one of you. Selectman Meany, by phone, he wanted a $500,000, not the $650,000. He wanted $500,000. His comment was the way the economy, again, this is not from the minutes, it's from my notes, so the way the economy is going, it could get worse. Well, unless I have a true misunderstanding of the general fund balance, You know, the schools and the towns, they have to live within their means and budgets. So you're not going to get more from, you know, any of the entities than what their budget dictate, you know, to put into the general fund so that you can pay the manifest, you know, as they appear to you. And the clincher, Selectman Burdick, when it came to vote, I will qualify this first. Between the $650,000 and John's proposal of $600,000, in fact, John said, what will $600,000 do? Well, the bottom line, there was a 4-cent difference, all right, which doesn't amount to much, that's for sure. But when it came to vote, Selectman Burdick voted yes, and her comment was, 4 cents won't make a difference, okay? Well, difference between you folks and the taxpayers. So if it doesn't make a difference, give the 4 cents to the taxpayers. But no, the board has to, you know, get all they can, even the 4 cents. So thanks a lot, all you selectmen. I didn't have any note on you, Selectman Hippler, so take that for what it's worth.
I will.
Okay, and if you'd bear with me, a couple of things that are kind of on my radar a little bit. At some point in time, you're going to be discussing what purchases to spend, to have with surplus, budget surplus for this year. I'm sure that's going to happen. I know there was discussion of a truck for the building inspector. And please, please, don't throw in safety. I understand safety. I'm not questioning safety, all right? I'm a proponent of safety. So, you know, as things go along. If it's safety, all right, I presume that truck was inspected every year that we've had it since 2006. Somebody missed the boat, all right? That truck didn't fall apart overnight. I think you voted to take that truck off the road and use another town vehicle for the building inspector. So if it's that bad, what happened? What happened to the inspections? You know, inspections, I know my car, I was told, well, you're going to need rear brakes, you know, next June. Okay, I know that, all right? And the same has happened with a couple of other things. You got a hole in the muffler. You're going to need a new muffler come the next, you know, the next inspection, whatever year that was. Okay, I get it, all right? Well, that truck didn't fall apart overnight. I have to give Selectman Hippler credit. If you want to believe me, okay. If you don't, the thought ran through my mind also when you mentioned surplus, you know, state surplus. You know, has anybody checked on that during the past week to see if there's a surplus truck out there? I probably can agree with Selectman Meany that, you know, they're waiting for state bids to come in so they know what trucks to get rid of. So there may not be anything.
There's none up there. There's none in the yard that are worth.
Pardon me?
There are none up there in the yard.
Okay, so somebody did check on it. Okay,
I go
thanks.
by it constantly, and I checked with somebody in the,
Okay, well, thanks for doing that, okay? Too bad it wasn't done last year or at this inspection. But to have a truck fall apart overnight, brakes, and that, totally inexcusable. Totally, totally, totally inexcusable. Enough that you have to take it off the road, all right? I don't know who's running the ship, but somebody should take blame for it, quite honestly. I don't know who. In that regards, still with budget surplus, well, the truck, if you're going to buy a truck with budget surplus, you're sticking it to the taxpayers enough, again, because you're not giving the taxpayer the opportunity to vote yes or no. Again, don't throw safety. I understand safety. You know, it should be replaced. I get it. But you're taking the ability away from the taxpayers to have a yes or no. to say on it, all right? You can present it so that they would say yes. Again, with budget surplus, be interesting to see how much money and to what items you're going to use of the budget surplus to buy things. It may help the budget next year. Won't help the default budget because you won't adjust the default budget. If the police department or highway department, if they want, you know, chains for the trucks, cutting edges, oil, you know, you name it. All right, it's going to help the proposed budget next year. Won't help the default budget because you won't adjust it. That's the way to play the game. Some few meetings back, when this ARPA money, this government money, you got the first of $450,000. You got a $450,000 payment, the first of it. There was a little bit of discussion of what it might be used for, what parameters it can be used for. I commented to the board that it'd be nice to hear discussions. You may have had them. I don't come to every meeting. I don't listen to every meeting to the very end. So I remember Selectman Van saying that in regards to the discussions, want to be transparent. Okay, well, I don't know. Who knows? To further that, I was interested to know from the board, whatever you spend that money on, what is going to be the impact to me as a taxpayer? You know, if you're going to replace a, you know, heating system with something that you now have to buy propane or heating oil, that's an impact to me. You know, give me an estimate. Don't lock me into something that's, you know, that the taxpayers are walking into blind. And, well, again, what is the status of the discussions for, you know, for that money? So that's all I have. It's probably a little bit convoluted, but those are my concerns, and I appreciate the time.
Trent? Any other public comment? Okay.
Clay's not here tonight.
Okay, so we'll move to Director Knapp and his budget.
Hello again. I'll let Beth hand them out. Thank you, Beth. I'd like to address something real quick about public comment. Everybody knows that we do the inspections for whoever brings us vehicles. We didn't drop the ball on nothing. The truck isn't necessarily unsafe. It needs a lot of rust repair, and we are asked to give an estimated cost to fix the rust repair, and that's up to you guys or the department head to decide what to do with it. So, it's not my job. It's not my truck. We do the inspections, and I didn't drop the ball on nothing. It is my inspection station. I've had a number of mechanics over the last few years, so, but I'm not here to blame any of them, because it's my station. So, it's a town of Weare station that my name's at the top of. So, I think that this town does an unbelievably amazing job patching stuff together when they shouldn't have to. We rebuild snow plows when snow plows are said, Tenco said we're the only people they know that rebuild snow plows. And dump bodies, and nobody else does that. But since we can't get trucks and plows and pickups and stuff, we fix this stuff. I don't come and cry to you or the public or nobody else, but when it's time to replace it, it's time to replace it. So, and for some reason, some people don't like to hear that, but whatever. You guys got your printouts? I guess we'll start at the top. There's a fairly significant increase in my highway budget. It's really a couple lines that did the majority of the increases because things went up. But I'll go through line by line if you'd like, or just differences, or whatever you guys want. You're in charge.
I would say we'll start at Uh, 409,
409.
because everything else is wages and wage reflections.
Sounds
So,
good. Sounds good.
Highway building maintenance.
if the rest of the board's all right with that.
Yep.
Okay. So, 409, which would be line 430, highway repairs, building maintenance.
Okay. We're proposing a $2,500 increase. That is just kind of reflection of what the building's been costing us. Took a couple of years to get a handle on what the pump in the tanks and furnace cleaning. Furnace, I was on board with the waste oil furnace because we get lots of oil from up the transfer station. It has kind of proven to be that we don't get enough, and it's, we clean it a lot, so. We clean it a lot ourselves, and then we hire the company that does it to come in and professionally do it a couple times a year, so. And I hire them to fire it up every season so they can go through it all, because we tried it on our own once, and it just cost more money to do it after, so.
What's this 1440 septic pump? On that same line?
To pump the tank in the floor.
That's also the runoff from
The
the
salt.
trucks.
That's the floor drain tank.
Okay, all right. So we don't have a septic problem, it's just,
No,
that's the...
no, that's the, that's a
type of-
tank in the floor out there that catches the floor
Runoff.
drain tank, and because it's not septic, it costs more money.
Gotcha, okay.
We do our best to, prevent any oils or anything going in there. When it was almost new, Bob Richards came over and gave me a couple good suggestions, and we follow those things. We put socks and stuff in the drains to catch the oils and stuff, but they still,
Still leaks through.
well, I don't even know if it does. You just get charged more, because they know that, and when they
know
go
it's coming.
dump it.
Right.
There was no increase over the next three. Cleaning services went up $360, contract. Our IT guy, you go down another three, there was no increase. 417, our IT guy said that we should replace Joe's computer. Put a new drive in mine, I guess his isn't accepting it very well. 419 is the internet and inspection machine.
Is that just the highway garage is the 210?
Say that again?
The highway garage, is that the only thing it's getting the internet provided for $210 a month?
Yeah, because it's separate on the transfer rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, okay. I guess doesn't the transfer station have a booster or something that they get it from? Okay. And who provides that? Is that Granite State or is that?
Oh, wait, for the internet, it's Granite State.
Vehicle fuel was derived off a number you guys made up.
How has, I mean, obviously you've seen that number. Is
Yep.
that, do you think they were reasonable?
Yeah, I think so. Boy, that's a hard thing to judge. I mean, I don't think it's none too much. Obviously, it's a municipal price without road tax, but I've been from here to the other side of the country 3 times this year, and you aren't gonna buy it that cheap anywhere else, I can promise you that.
Right.
so.
Okay.
Go down another couple, you go to 423. It's my drug and alcohol testing. We just took an average over the last 3 years. They have a mandatory how many you gotta do a year. You gotta do, I think it's 4 drug and 4 alcohol, but then every new hire has to go through it also. So if they're hired, we reimburse for that. Fuel additive and testing, that's kind of a broad umbrella of things. To start with, it was the inspections on the fuel station. So we have the fuel station for the whole town. Everybody fuels up there. There's state inspections and stuff that have to be followed. The state determines what those inspections are. There's annual ones, biannual ones, every 3 years. And you gotta do them. You gotta hire somebody to do them. You gotta do them or they shut your fuel station down. You gotta be certified and which I am, and I have one other gentleman that is. And so that's kind of where it first fell in. And then we started adding additive to the diesel fuel in the wintertime supposed to make the diesels run better. And that was years and years ago. And now you get stuff with DEF. So with no other line for DEF to go under, it is a fuel additive, so to speak, goes in the trucks and equipment. And so that's where I put the DEF under now also. So with more newer vehicles, you're going to have more DEF. So. And the inspections don't get any cheaper either. Oils and lubricants, we haven't really got that number up any in a lot of years, and oil doesn't get any cheaper, so trying to increase it to all these numbers I'm just trying to bring up to what I usually spend. So we can have phony numbers, or we can put the right ones in there, but most of it's hydraulic oil. There's tons of oil, but we do oil sampling, so we don't spend a ton on motor oil. We go four oil changes now, 4 changing. We used to sample until they told you it was time to change it, and when I came back, I said every 4, even if it says it's still perfect, we dump it. Every 250 hours, we sample our oil, and at 1,000 hours, if it still says it's 99% good, we change it anyway. But we still every 250 sample it, change the filters, do that stuff. So.
How is Texas Refinery doing with supply?
Fine.
Okay.
We don't get our hydraulic from them.
Okay.
It's just motor oil.
Right.
And gear oil.
Okay.
So signs, posts, and rails. I've tried to make a guardrail line for the last couple of years because I don't know when this was derived, way before me, but we spend that much on signs and posts. There's more people having kids, I guess, with street names because some street signs disappear a lot. So we buy a lot of signs, posts. So I removed the rails and tried to build you'll see here in a couple lines, try to build a guardrail line because there's a lot of guardrail in town. I try to do $15,000, $20,000 of guardrail work a year because
We need it.
if the guardrail's up, it has to be like it's supposed to. Somebody hits a phony post that you drove in to fix it and goes through and they're smart enough to sue you, you're going to pay for it. You can't have a phony guardrail. Better off take it out. So you got to fix them if you're going to have them.
There's a nationwide lawsuit
Yeah.
involving guardrails
Yeah.
right now.
So you can't have.
So you can't
You can't get
cob something up anymore. And
You
make
can't
your
get a
own.
company to come in here for $1,200 worth of work. That's like 2 panels. So if it's not going to be realistic, we might as well not have it. So I took the guardrail out of that line. We will leave $3,000 for signs, which is, nowhere near too much, but we get by with that. That's okay. You go down to 431A, that's the new line for guardrail for $15,000.
Benji, what's $431,000
One-time purchase.
pallet purchase for 21?
There was the paint on it.
Where are you?
431.
The one-time purchase line.
Right above the guardrail line.
That was my paint for
Because he doesn't do it every year.
the paint striper.
Okay.
Because if you buy it by the bucket, it's way, way, way more money. So I buy it by the pallet, but it's not every year.
Okay.
It goes 2-3 years. We did a little more striping this year, so maybe it'll be every year, but it's every other at best. So.
Okay.
$431 is gravel road maintenance. That's something, it was suggested by someone other than me that if something's gonna be every year, it should be in the budget. So gravel road maintenance is simply calcium chloride. That's not even the gravel crushing or nothing. They still take gravel crushing and all that out of
Road
road
reconstruction.
reconstruction. This is just calcium. $550 a ton is an estimated number, and 24 tons is 1 trailer load of calcium, and that's how you get your best rate. If you go down Manchester, pick it up by the bag, it's way higher. So. And we use approximately 24 tons if you apply it like we like to apply it. Coal patch I decreased a little bit, you know, just because we did so much paving, so. Salt and sand, that's sand's kind of a, doesn't even need to be on the end of there really, but it's really for the salt. It was $54 last year, it's $72.60 a ton now, and that's state bid price. So, nothing I can do about that. Roadside mowing, we decreased 11 grand, we have a mower. Uniforms. Really, that's it for changes, I guess. Any questions on highway department?
Nope.
Alrighty. Go to transfer station. You wanna go down below payroll, or?
Sure.
Go to the first big increase, I guess, is 463, that's transfer station building maintenance. Anybody that's ever been in that transfer station knows that it hasn't changed one iota since it was built. And if anybody has anything to say about remodeling the bathroom or anything else, then I'd like you to go to the bathroom up there the next time you go, because you wouldn't go, you'd go outside instead.
I'm not questioning it, but I'm thinking that maybe that 4,000 should be moved to one-time purchase line.
The only reason it isn't is because right after that, I want to move out to the other part and do some painting and some sealing and stuff.
Okay. So you have plans in the future
I
for...
plans to keep doing stuff. It just has had nothing. I think me
That's true.
and Dennis LeBlanc put the suspended ceiling in there in 2001 when I started, and I think John and Donna painted it when he was there. And that's all that's ever been done to that place, so.
All right, that's fine.
It needs everything. I want to do
Oh,
a little at a time every year.
Oh, it needs love. I'm not denying
We
that.
don't do something, I'm gonna have to tear it down, build a new one, and I don't do that.
No.
So,
Okay.
but if anybody has anything to say about that, then I'll escort you right up there, you can go to the bathroom. NRA dues changed by $2. Everything else is contracted through either trucking or where we dispose of our products. The 470 transfer station and recyclable disposals, that was because we were paying to get rid of recyclables, and right now we're not, so I got rid of it. We kept $1 there to keep the line open in case it changes, but we're paying to get rid of plastics. Right now, we're not bailing plastics. We were paying to get rid of newspaper. Right now, we're not paying to get rid of newspaper. We're actually getting paid pretty good money for newspaper, as a matter of fact, so. Anytime the world's in turmoil and fuel's high and everybody's throwing bombs at each other, recycling's great, so.
So, but plastic is, we'd have to pay to get rid of
Well,
plastics.
still,
No, we just don't have help enough to bail it right now.
Okay,
They just,
all right.
we get some more help, we'll bail it again.
Yeah, okay.
Lost my spot, sorry about that.
Nope, that was me. I mean, you know the numbers kind of, pretty well. I mean, are we seeing a huge increase in wheelabrator versus,
No, Wheelabrator, they always go up 1 to 2%.
Well, I'm just saying
NRA
from-
always goes up a couple bucks.
from halt because of the lack of plastics, et cetera?
No.
No.
People just throwing away more. You know, it baffles me to this day with the furniture. I cannot believe people buy that many beds and couches and stuff, you know, and we just throw it in the hopper, we stop charging the public for them, but it's crazy, you know, and I got my guys really checking dump stickers now, make sure they're coming from out of town, but we're pulling more trailers. This was, the number of trailers that we pull, you know, when we drive the contract for hauling and everything, was numbers that was picked by my brother, and he ain't been here in 15 years. You know, so when you start adding them up, I think we're pulling like 58 cans of metal last year. That's better than one a week. We figured 102 trailers a week, and that was way back with 2-axle trailers. We pulled, it probably says on here, but we're pulling close to 3 now, you know. It's just the population's more, people
Yeah.
throw everything away. So, it's gonna go up, but getting rid of it at Wheelabrator isn't increasing too much. It's just the number of loads, and you gotta pay a hauler. Someday we'll get to the point of our own truck. It just,
We gotta be getting close.
just the cost of it's crazy. And there isn't a better company on earth than Sizemore to haul it. They're
Oh, no.
Johnny on the spot, and they're fair and everything. It's just, we move a lot of product at that place, a ton. You know, and going back to the part-timers that I just hired, you go to these surrounding towns, some of them not very far away, has got 1,900 people and 3, 4, 5 employees working, and we get 10,000 people and I get 2. So just taxpayers take that into consideration of how much we're doing with 2
Individuals.
employees. That's really it for big money. I mean, you get fuel surcharge for almost $5,000. That's per contract. That's about it for transfer station, unless you got other questions.
485 tires, trailers, that's tires for the trailers, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put tires on that demo here pretty soon. That's got super singles on it and stuff like that.
Ouch.
Yeah. And hazardous waste day, I increased, and that's just because it's proven to be a demand for it. I went way over this year because I promised when I put it in the budget I wouldn't shut people off. But I told them to call me when we met our threshold, and they started calling me at 10 in the morning. I don't think we opened till about 9. So. I said, well, I promised, but we got to get it up to a real number, or we're gonna have to start shutting it down again because I don't have any fluff in my transfer station budget. So.
Right.
And then we had sewer and water.
But those are in and out accounts, right?
Well, water isn't, nothing increased in water except testing, that's per the state. And sewer is paid only by the people that use the
Users,
sewer.
right. Board have any questions of any of the presentation tonight?
Just one. When do you think that we might want to look at having our own tractor trailer to haul? And what kind of a savings would that be for us?
Well, I don't have the savings down on paper, but I mean, it'd be huge. Right now, if we had one, you wouldn't have to hire an employee as it stands right now. I get a ton of Class A drivers, me included. Not that I'd say that out loud, but.
I was gonna say.
You know, it wouldn't necessarily cost the town another person because we have people that can pull them. There'd be times it'd be inconvenient, like busy in the winter or something, because,
DPW activities.
right,
Right.
so, you know, my thought would be to keep everything that's in trailers, and when it comes to the roll-offs, maybe just have a metal company put their can there. I'm not really interested in having roll-off containers. Aluminum cans, I always thought we could build a bunker out of waste blocks, put a roof over it. When there's a 10-wheeler load on a rainy day, one of my guys could haul a 10-wheeler load of cans to Schnitzer's or wherever they go, Harding sometimes. But, you know, we have a truck that is really on its last leg. The first automatic 6-wheeler I get rid of from the highway, I plan on putting a 5th wheel on just to pull the trailer back and forth. We have to pull our own trailer now. Way back in the very beginning when the trailer was full, I don't know if any of you remember it, I do vaguely, it was full. He ran trash out the door out in the middle of the dooryard because they didn't pull it.
All right.
Denning pulled the trailer back there and he didn't pull on Saturdays. They're 2-axle trailers, and when the trailer was full, that was it. You pulled a half-full trailer on Friday, and you put an empty trailer in for Saturday morning, and when it filled up, you were all done. So we got a truck, that Big Red, if you remember, was the very first one, just to move trailers back and forth. And then we got this green one, which is fine. We have it for convenience, but we're gonna have to replace it someday. Which if it's with an old highway truck, not a big deal, but just as soon have a good one, and when it was loaded, you could, instead of stopping in the middle of the yard, you go right on to Pennacook with it. But you know, the paper goes all the way to Wilmington, Mass. That's over $500 a pull, and sometimes that's more than what's in the can. So, demos, you know, few $100, but we just move a lot of material. It'd be nice to have a truck. I'm not gonna ask for it this year. We need plow trucks and transfer station improvements before we need a transfer station truck, but
We're getting
we
close.
spend a lot. We spend a lot on hauling.
Yeah.
Town's a lot smaller than us that have their own truck, so. And again, I'll be very clear, it's no slight against the contractor, because he's the best we've ever had, but we're a big town. Everybody wants us to think this is a little town. I come from a little town. This isn't a little town. This is a big town. A lot of people live here. We move a lot of stuff. We're the second largest land area-wise in the state of New Hampshire, next to Pittsburgh. So the houses are spread out. It seems rural. We got a lot of people here. And they all come to the transfer station, one way or another. So,
How'd we fare in the last storm?
not bad. You got
Equipment-wise.
4 or 5 trucks to fix.
Okay.
We had, my Chevy's still on jack stands. We put it together and still makes noise. We're gonna have to tear the front end apart again.
The 5500? Or?
Yeah, 4500, yeah. We could only get half the front end parts, and we tried to put them together with it. And so we researched and found some on the old interweb, and we're gonna try it again. So the new kid ran my pickup. I drove my own personal pickup in for this storm to patrol, but I didn't have to patrol in it because I had a kid call out sick, so I drove his dump truck and plowed in my own Mac. It's like old time's sake. So, so the boys got to hang out with the boss all night. So. Yeah, not terrible, I guess.
Okay.
I got a body that's dissolving. We got to do something about T5. I'll limp it through this winter, but if we don't, we're gonna have to put a body on it. It's just not gonna make it. We're gonna have to weld some iron on it. The headboard's falling off it, and the main strap that holds the front corner and
It's gone.
the back corner's gone. I think Jack has a picture of that, actually.
Did I hear a rumor that Tenco's no longer doing bodies?
We're selling them, ain't installing them.
Who's gonna be doing their installs?
My favorite place on earth.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah,
Fairfield.
I've heard about that, yeah.
Alamo owns every snow plow and body company in the entire world. So it was only time that they were gonna merge.
Yep.
And Tenco was renting a building in Barry, Vermont for $500,000 a year, and some bean counter in Texas decided that that was a waste of money, so they dissolved the fabricating shop. And they're still building the stuff in Canada and shipping it down here. I still am gonna push to get Tenco equipment, but it's gonna be installed by
Fairfield.
Fairfield. Unless stuff quits breaking, then we'll install it, but
Yep.
I wouldn't have time to do that today, that's for sure. So.
Okay.
Any questions?
I don't believe so.
If there is, we'll get ahold of you.
Yeah, you got my number, I got 2, 3
Go take a nap. All right. Thank you, Benji. Brings us to the Motorola radio discussion.
I'm going to be very brief. This is going to be the Scott and Bill show this evening. Scott is the, Crenshaw is the senior Motorola Solutions rep for Vermont, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. And Bill Bartlett is the third generation, he's the president of Two-Way out of, Two-Way Communications out of Portsmouth. The reason they're back here is, one, the board requested it, but two, the urgency to get it here was when I spoke to Scott and Bill, we were dealing in August, and I'm not exactly sure when those prices were set, but there was very little inflation. Since that time, there's been, like everything else, a rampant inflation, and it's also hit the communications business as well. So that's one of the reasons. The other one is that there is also a question of what kind of payment schedule, leasing agreements that are available, and Scott will discuss that. From what I gather, is pretty flexible. It depends on what the cash flow and how the town of Weare wants to do it. And third thing is, since last time, I didn't have Benji's single transmitter receiver, which is on Mine Hill, as part of the upgrade. I didn't do that. They've included it tonight, just so we have the complete suite. If that's not wanted, they can back that out. what else? I think that's it. So without further ado, Scott, you want to start it off?
Sure, do I want to plug, can I plug the laptop in to present?
I
or
think
is
you
that-
plugged the
Either-
laptop
yeah,
right
either
here. This it?
Yeah, there's an HDMI comes
You have
down.
an HDMI cord?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
You pull it out?
Hold up.
How far?
not across the room.
Oh,
Keep coming.
yeah, that's plenty. It's like a vacuum cord. You just yeah, get. So as I'm getting this up, I'm the direct account rep for Motorola for Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, as Jack said. Been with the company about 10 years, and then in this territory like 7 with Bill. You want to introduce yourself, Bill?
Sure, yeah. Bill Bartlett, I'm from Two Way Communications. So we're one of the manufacturer's reps for Motorola for the area. So we have it is a private shop, but we work closely with Scott to represent Motorola, give it the service, feet on the ground, if you will, for the area. So we take care of most of the area for Scott, and manages services and whatnot that he provides as part of his system designs and whatnot. And yeah, we're right out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and we work throughout the region for many communities.
All right, I'm plugged in here. What else do I have to do to get this to go? It should just go, right? If I'm plugged in.
Sense it, yeah.
Is that HDMI 2 or?
Yeah, it might be a different input.
Yeah, we just shut it off. Oh. That's 2.
No, searching.
Oh, there we go.
Ta-da!
We're in business. So I know, did Jack meet with y'all in what, in October, September, right, Jack? So I'm gonna just do a quick overview of the system that we've proposed here for you guys, just as a refresh. So I don't want to do death by PowerPoint. I want to get to some of the billing milestone stuff that Jack was talking about. But again, I'm Scott. I got Bill from Two Way here with me. I'll go over kind of the current system and some of the deficiencies you guys are having today with the existing system for police and fire. The future system that we've designed, look at coverage maps really briefly, go over the moto design and implementation process as far as what takes place after you guys sign a contract with us and how that, timeline, project schedule, and then pricing at the end. So the existing system, without getting super technical, is a conventional voting system for police and fire. You guys have one transmit site today at Mine Hill. There's multiple receive sites throughout town that can help you get some portable radio coverage, but the issue that we found in doing some of the site walks and stuff throughout town is all those sites are below tree line. So, you think of it, the higher the site, the better your coverage is going to be, and just sticking receivers on telephone poles throughout town isn't really going to solve your problem. So that's, I get that towers are expensive, but that's something that, we found it's definitely going to be needed if you guys move forward. So also the backhaul, any site that's out there, radio site, has to have some kind of connectivity between the site, either IP, like a physical wire line, like fiber or T1 connection, or UHF links in this case is what the town is using now. And it's basically just all radio communication from site to site, which isn't very reliable. It's prone to, interference and things like that. So that's one of the things we're going to rectify with the proposed system. So the coverage is a huge issue today. As I said, topography limits the coverage when transmitting from just a single site at Mine Hill. UHF links are unreliable. So the purpose really of this is to improve coverage, right? We want to make sure that the officers in the field can talk to and from dispatch and to other users from a portable radio, not just a mobile radio, because they need that. So
So the proposed system for police is just a one channel, so one townwide channel, 5-site VHF, which is the band they're on, digital IP simulcast system. The proposed sites that we have are Mine Hill, which is an existing site today. That'll be a transmit site. You'll have a transmitter there, one at South Weare Fire, and one at East Weare Fire. I believe we're doing towers at both East Weare and South Weare.
Both sites would be from a tower standpoint, greenfield. There are no existing towers at either station.
And the purpose of the tower gets you above tree line, and it allows us to, predict coverage accurately. We did need a couple receive sites at is it Clough Dam or Clough Dam? Clough Dam, because we ran maps with just the 3-site, and we noticed there was like a sliver of unpainted area on the map over by Clough Dam, over by the lake as well, by Chase Park. It just, I know there's houses around the lake, and we couldn't cover that without a couple receive sites. So we are going to utilize the existing, I guess are they on telephone poles, Jack, today, or are they on?
It's self-standing. Yeah,
Right,
20,
so
30 foot.
we'll utilize that, and we did run coverage based off of those heights, so it's, that'll fill in what you need. And here's the coverage
So
based off the sites I
excuse me,
mentioned.
but we would reuse what we currently have in those 2 locations.
No, you need new equipment, yeah.
But we'd reuse the tower.
The tower, yeah.
And the power that's already there, et cetera, but
Yep.
there'd be new equipment put in.
Yeah,
Okay.
new antennas, new line antennas, and new equipment in the shelter.
Okay.
Yeah, they're actually decent little towers, and, they don't, and it really speaks to what Scott said about that propagation, right?
Mhm.
Height to get
Yeah.
coverage. Even with the 3-tower plan that we put together, we had those slivers of no coverage in those areas.
Okay.
But because they had that proximity and they were right there at the dam where that valley is, that
Mhm.
there was no coverage, it fills it.
Okay.
And the same thing with Chase Park, it just provided that little filler.
Around the lake area.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
So-
I think that's an issue today, so, from a coverage perspective, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. We have paint everywhere, so this map shows your worst case scenario, basically the portable radio, 4-watt portable, talking out and being able to be heard. So, as you can imagine, the mobile radio maps are huge, you have coverage all around town, so this is the worst case. And we have coverage pretty much everywhere, so. For the fire department, I know we went back and forth a little bit on what the plan was going to be for fire, and we are just going to do basically a build-out. The plan is to do a build-out of the capital area fire system in Concord. We're going to add 1 site out of, I think they have 8 sites today, so this will be 7 or 8 sites. So this will be a 9th site in the town of Weare to give them added coverage. And there's already been discussion between me and the fire chief at Capital Area. He's open to the idea of allowing, allowing his dispatchers to dispatch for the town of Weare if need be. So essentially, again, it's an add-on site from Capital Area. We are going to need microwave connectivity or some kind of IP connectivity from Mine Hill, which will be the transmit site for fire, over to Wolf Hill, because that's one of the Capital Area sites. So I think Bill determined there is a line of sight for microwave, so we have a connection there, and Bill priced that out in his number.
Before we get away from that, what is cost difference, and it's going to boil back to cost, obviously. The cost difference between microwave and IP. What's the cost difference?
Well, microwave is IP, so there's really a couple different ways to establish IP connectivity. So microwave would be the customer-owned solution, so that would be your own equipment, monthly, you have the big bang up front,
Mhm.
investment in the equipment, and then no reoccurring for some time. Microwave traditionally has a very long lifespan as well, 20 years plus. So it's a reasonable return on investment. The other option would be to lease lines through a carrier.
Mm-hmm.
Out this way, you probably have Consolidated, which is now somebody else now.
No, it's where you have a local.
We have Grant State Telephone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you have a fiber carrier, okay, so
Mhm.
it would be that carrier.
Okay.
And that would be a monthly charge.
Right.
And it's on the order of, a few hundred to $300-400 a month.
Okay.
Sometimes there's some setup, you have to pay for some equipment up front.
Okay.
But just different
Just-
model of how you pay for it.
Question, that was all.
Yep.
And you can do it either way. If you don't want to pay for the microwave now and just say, hey, we just want to lease the line,
Mhm.
because it's a heavy investment, I said a heavier investment up front for the microwave, but you own it. And you
Right,
don't
there's
have
no reoccurring cost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I used your model, the same microwave equipment that I modeled for your own system is the same that I so.
Okay,
Same equipment.
that makes sense.
So the mobile coverage, I was told by Jack, is that mobile coverage is most important for the fire department, and it's excellent. You have coverage everywhere and then some. So for mutual aid type of stuff, you're gonna have mobile coverage from anywhere. And I know Capital's pretty excited to have another site on their system because that's gonna extend their reach further south. So mobile coverage looks great. This is your portable coverage. I wanted to show this just so you had, you know, a snapshot, but it still looks pretty good. Again, it's that area south of Clough Dam that you have that valley there that, you know, you may be able to rectify that with a receive site if portable coverage is really important to you, but, you know, that's up to you to do it at a later date, or we can do it as part of this project, but I know mobile coverage was the main focus, so.
That's interesting, but that actually shows the reasoning why we have both Clough
And South Weare, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same scenario.
Oh, you
right?
see, yeah, well, yeah,
You
well.
actually see both holes, because you have.
Well, it was worse with, because
the Chase.
on the PD system, when we showed the 3 sites with, you know, Wolf Hill wasn't part of that, so the hole that was over by the Chase was much
worse.
bigger.
Yeah.
But you really do need South Weare, though, as that transmit receive site to get in some of those nooks and crannies along the southern border of town, so.
Chief, your thoughts on the portable versus mobile?
Well, that was one of my questions I was just writing down for the winter. That the capital area's design is mobile to dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we had a cost of what those 2 sites were to receive only. The other question is whether or not, since ownership, I guess, of the simulcast system, if we go to capital, flows to capital, is it better to have a microwave? Is that their preference? Or because there's no recurring cost?
Well, I think I haven't talked to Keith, it's Keith Gilbert, about the transport, but my assumption is the transport from Mine Hill, or the backhaul, the microwave or the lease line would be on the town to pay for that, right? So, is that what you're asking? Like, how,
Well, that's not my understanding. But
okay, I might be wrong. I might be wrong on that. Don't quote me. I mean, in other cases where this has come up, that's usually been the case. Hey, if you want to be on our system, you got to pay for the backhaul. He may have said something else. I just thought I heard him say at one point that it would be on the town, but we can work that out. You know, it's something that. But I think the initial cost of the microwave, we do have a cost for that in Bill's number, though, to get to Wolf Hill, from Mine Hill to Wolf Hill.
Yeah, we can definitely see the figures on the hardware and know, you know, what it is, whether or not it carries it, is up for
Right.
discussion, but the receiver at, you know, in this case, we would put something, you know, to fix some of that, we would put it at the dam likely, right? To help cover some of that.
Oh, for an added
area.
receive site, yeah.
And Clough, and I think that's when the discussion will probably be a little bit longer with Concord, because those receive sites would benefit only your community, and
Right.
that's just my experience in the past with those.
Oh,
type of-
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. So I think, you know, it's easy enough for us to identify cost for you, just where it's gonna go, I'm not sure. I'd love to see them pay for it all for you, to be honest, but it's, you know, it's gonna be your discussion with them. But
Yeah.
it's easy for us to show you.
Well, I think I don't know, I can't name at the towns that are to the west of where, if they're dispatched by capital area, but keep in mind when you're having the discussions with Keith that the site is only helping them too, right? It's only helping, it's expanding their coverage, especially south, so they can, you know, bring on other towns, potentially.
Yeah, Deering already is, which is Wolf Hill, and then you get into Francistown, New Boston just rebuilt their radio system.
Okay,
But they're being dispatched by Goffstown PD, which
right,
we don't know the duration of that.
sure.
But if you go to the right, towards where it says Hackett Hill, that direction of the town boundary, that's Dumbarton, and they are capital area. So it would probably help them a little bit
Yeah,
as
and even
well.
if you added a receive site in Ware, that still was gonna help Dunbarton, right?
Yeah.
You're still gonna get that added coverage that they need, so,
Yeah.
especially, well, at least from a portable perspective,
But
but
I
yeah.
only say that because it's hard because those towers are so short.
Yeah, exactly,
Really,
yeah.
It's very unimpressive.
focused,
When you
yeah.
see a before and after map with those little short towers, it's
Yeah, it's only
very
gonna give you a little bit.
unimpressive. It's blink and it lights up a little tiny area.
Little green,
Like, oh,
yeah.
really? That's it? And that's, I guess, my concern is that if you were to populate those towers, it's really not gonna do much for anybody but you.
Yeah, and
But I think mobile-wise, you can
halfway
conduct
fine-
business.
I'm mostly fine with that.
Right.
Because we use our radios differently than the PD.
Sure.
products.
Yeah.
So I'm not,
Yeah, I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah, mobile-wise, you look
came down to
great.
cost.
Yeah.
So any questions about the PD or the fire system? No? Okay.
When you get to the cost part,
Yeah.
did we, this is assuming that we go to capital.
Mm-hmm.
The voters still have to approve that.
Mm-hmm.
So if the voters say no, do we have a price to build a radio system for fire that mimics the police departments?
About 200,000 more, I think we found.
Yeah, we do. I don't have them in the slides, but I have them ready. So we just, coming into this, it was, you know,
That's
it was
fine, as
this.
long as-
I have them, and I can share those with you, and Jack has them as well, so. Any other questions about PD?
I just
or-
want to make another statement. There's a third contractor that's not present here or nor the information. It's Granite State Telephone. We will have to use those links for at least between the receive sites at Clark and
Chase Park.
Chase Park back to Mine Hill. And they've had a big outage someplace. I think they have a place in Chester. They had real problems, so I've been pushing them. I haven't got it. So there's two costs. One will be the non-recurring to splice it up. Basically what happens is the entire town is wired or light by cable, right? Fiber optics is light. And in order to go from, let's say, Chase Park to Mine Hill, you'd come through the substation right here, right side of the parking lot. You'd have to splice two pieces together. There's a dedicated communication. Also, coming out of Clough, would probably go to Southwick, put the two together and go to Mine Hill. So, I don't have that information right now.
It's not the
For
other
the
one.
non-recurring and for the recurring costs. I don't have either one of those.
All right, just speaking a little bit to the design and implementation process. So essentially, we'll talk a little bit to Bill's number. He's got some slides as well, but there's two pieces to this, right? There's the Motorola project, which is all of our site equipment, all the antenna and line, combiners that are at the sites. Basically, the Motorola chunk is one number, and then there's a separate number for two-way for Bill. The reason, and Bill's numbers has all the, anything tower related, so the new towers, the outdoor cabinets, any generator, any tower climbing or anything like that. Probably over the last, year or two, Bill, I've been pulling that stuff out and letting Bill quote that directly because of our markup. Our markup's gone crazy with that stuff. So it was really just in an effort to save the town the most money. We could put it all under the Motorola umbrella, but the number he gives you is gonna go up like 60%.
Yeah.
And where you can just go right to him. All the stuff that's on our paper has to go through us. I pulled out everything I could, but, so anything as it relates to our proposal, which I'm going to start working on. We don't have a proposal yet, but Jack knows we're working on like a full-blown proposal and contract and everything for you guys that has statement of work and write-up and coverage maps and everything else. But all the coverage studies, the engineering, equipment lists and system diagrams are all completed by our pre-sale team. We have like a group of engineers that works out in New Jersey, and they come up with the design and they essentially guarantee it. So if we sell it and we find out there's something missing, it's on Motorola, it's not on the town. We don't come back to the town and say, oh, we missed X, Y, or Z, you guys need to pay us. It's whatever's in that contract and that proposal is on us. The final proposal and contract, obviously completed by Motorola Direct Sales Group, that's me and my group up here. The implementation process, essentially when we sell and you guys sign a contract, there's payment milestones, which I'll show in a bit. But in post-sale, we have a project manager that gets assigned for Motorola who has like, bi-weekly calls with a point of contact or a project manager within the town. So you guys would need to have somebody, not necessarily somebody technical, but somebody who could kind of be our point of contact for the town. And we have a post-sale engineer. We also have a warranty, which I have in another slide as well I can talk to, but the warranty on the equipment and all of the install starts after the final sign-off of the project. So the implementation time is about 12 months, roughly. It could be longer, could be a little bit less, depending on what comes up. Once the system stood up and we test it and it's working, from that period on, your warranty starts from there. It's 1 year on everything, essentially.
1 year parts and labor, 1 year parts,
Sorry?
1 year parts and labor if you have to come out and replace something also? Covers travel time and all that stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, it's everything. So that's one of the things that we provide as the local service provider. So we're the feet on the ground. So Motorola doesn't come out.
Yep.
We're contracted as a service provider.
Okay.
So we would come out and take care of everything.
Yeah, and then we have, so Bill's team, he's also a manufacturer rep and he can sell on our behalf. He's also an authorized service partner of ours. So all of his guys have been trained on this equipment. They know how to install it. And he actually kind of works hand in hand with our project manager. And we have local system techs that work directly for Motorola that will work with Bill and his team to get everything configured properly and working the right way. And just a very preliminary project schedule again, because things often change and move in and move out. But contract signed between that and our design review. So we'll sell it. We don't ship anything until we sit down with a customer and with you guys and with Bill and our post-sale team, and we go through everything with a fine-tooth comb to make sure everything's where it needs to be and correct. Then we start shipping. I mean, before we even get the contract design review and order entry complete, it's usually a couple months. So it's a slow process. Equipment will ship, I'd say it'd be around 4 months before you see equipment, everything fully arrive. And then I put roughly about 8 months, because Bill has a lot of work on his paper that he needs to get done, the towers. He needs to order the outdoor cabinets and get the sites ready for our equipment. I hope that's enough time, Bill.
Yeah, and it's weather dependent. I mean, really,
Right.
the civil component, which I'll go over, is really, the timeline can really vary a lot. And it's about site conditions, about unknowns. I'd like to see them go really smooth all the time, but sometimes they don't. They've got a little hiccup, but that's why we try to get out ahead of it, try to start on the civil stuff right away. As soon as the snow gets off the ground and really get going, so. That's a good starting point anyways.
Right.
For sure.
Month 10, the microwave install would be complete roughly, and then we expect, usually in month 11 is when we start doing acceptance testing, where we go through the system and make sure that everything's where it needs to be, and then final acceptance is typically around a 12-month period. So the billing milestones, these are our boilerplate, I guess, billing milestones, so there is some leeway on this, but once you sign a contract, you'll be invoiced right away for 25% of the total contract value. So it's, $330,000 that you get billed for right away after we sign a contract. 60% would be due upon shipment of the equipment and staging. So essentially, all the equipment has to ship and arrive before we can send out this invoice. And this is also contingent upon our CDR. CDR first, then we start shipping. So after we get sign off, it could be, 3 to 4 months before we bill you for the second milestone. 10% contract price due upon installation of all the equipment. After everything's at the sites, racked and stacked, and then 5% due upon final acceptance when the town signs off, and that's when warranty period would start.
You should put this app to the pricing page, because everybody's.
I know, I should, I thought I had it on top, yeah. So the total system, which Jack had said, we've been dealing with serious part shortages, supply chain issues, transportation issues we've had a lot of price increases since maybe August. So I think the number has definitely jumped up since Jack last presented these, but it's one of those things that's, if I could prevent, I would, but it's kind of a runaway train right now. Things are going up. Yeah. And most of this stuff all comes from overseas. The components that we have in these in these boxes there at the site. I mean, everything is, from Asia. It's been horrible. We've really seen, this is the largest price increase we've seen in a long time. So, yeah. So we accounted for, and so there's two numbers. The top one is the Motorola number, and the second number is Bill's number for his items. But we've accounted for, because we know that this might not move until what, March or April potentially, right, if it passes and all that, right? So, you know, we have some fluff in there. So even if you guys moved in May or June, that's a solid number. It most likely will come down a little bit once we actually get it into a proposal. But we wanted to put a safe number in there so we didn't come back in March or April and say, oh, we were wrong on the number, it went up. So,
We've got a solid equipment list, we just didn't apply all the discounts available, so you still have some discounts available out there, so, you know, like Scott says, it'll shake out, even if there are some increases, we can most likely
yeah.
overcome most of them with some discounts, so. I think we're really safe.
And then I pulled together some lease numbers. Really, this is just a snapshot of what the interest rates are right now. I know we're a few months out. These numbers are they only stay good for 2 weeks, right? So that's what they are now. I don't know what they're going to be in March or April. But we do a municipal lease program through Motorola. I do a lot of these just because of sometimes we can offer interest-free financing. There's some deals that come up where we do that for like 2 years interest-free or a year interest-free. Payment you can push off for 2 years, the first payment, which, you know, in some cases that when you guys are trying to find money, that works, right? We could push that initial payment off till 2023 if you need to. But that just gives you an idea of, you know, a 3, 5, 7, and a 10-year term and what the rates are right now. So it's just an option. And I have a quote, Jack, that I put together. I'll send you, so you can have.
That's
Yeah.
got all my number and yours combined.
That's both numbers, yeah. That's essentially the whole kit and caboodle. So you can lease Bill stuff and Motorola equipment all under one lease agreement.
Or you can make a front up down payment.
Yeah.
It'll change the numbers.
Yeah, this is 0 down. This reflects 0 down here, so.
Now, Bill, say we, just for argument's sake, we go with option 4, a 10-year program. We have a 1-year parts and maintenance warranty. What's the annual cost for maintenance on the system that you're proposing?
I don't think you have slides on that, but that would.
Approximate
come through
numbers.
Motorola.
Yeah, it'll come through us. It'll be in the proposal. So we'll have, so there's a couple things you gotta consider with maintenance. There's maintenance of the actual system, and then there's a system upgrade assurance program now. So basically, all these systems are IP based.
Mhm.
So just like your phone, you gotta upgrade your phone every 2 years, or every 3
Yep.
months or whatever it is. Same with these systems, you gotta upgrade them. So the number that we'll provide in the proposal will actually be twofold. It'll be for the maintenance and this SUA, the system upgrade assurance.
Okay. Do you have more? Because I have other questions that may deviate from your.
Let me see what I have next. Yeah, I mean, we can probably let you ask your questions. Jack asked that I put together some numbers for mobile and portable radios.
So the radios that we currently have in the fleet, both in fire and in PD,
Yeah.
those are all P25 capable to the best of my knowledge. They can just be reprogrammed and used for now.
Yep. If they're P25 capable.
They are P25
The
capable.
fire, I think, is analog anyway.
Fire is analog.
So they don't need to be digital unless they probably want to talk to PD, so,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if they're P25 capable and you can kind of, still get parts and
Yep.
batteries, then, yeah.
The reason
Okay.
for this is 2023, the chief had requested in CIP, upgrade of his handhelds, his vehicle, portable, mobile, and his pages. And there's a CIP request in there for 2023. We just wanted to give you an opportunity to see what this would be if you wrap this into the larger program. So that was, you don't have to buy this. This is the question of if it makes sense to upgrade this next year, then at least take an opportunity to look at what the cost would be. Okay?
Yeah,
And
so.
that's why we did this as sort of an option.
And this pricing here is separate from the radio project.
Right.
So if you guys were to purchase the radios, when you purchase the radio system, you'd save an additional like 10 or 15% off of this price here.
Yeah.
If you roll everything together.
If you rolled everything together, if you did it all at the same time. If you did it separately, I can't, it's economy of scale in a sense, right? Like the more, yeah.
It's pretty
so.
typical to see on a system of this scale, you know, it's typical to see subscribers like portables and mobiles rolled in, because that economy of scale, Scott can leverage that and get deeper discounts, and way beyond what we can provide you through state contract and ourselves. You know, it's not something we can normally do. But he
Most
said
of the
this
cheap
is-
stuff is 20 years old. You know, just an opportunity to throw it in.
Yeah, and there's different varieties of radios as well. I mean, this is the standard fire radio. Like, this radio is rated to go into any burning building, essentially hold up and not melt, and the cord's rated for, you know, high heat and things like that. So, you know, there's other radios that we have that are still very rugged that aren't as expensive as this radio. So there's more than this. This radio is an option as well. So.
And should Capital ever go to digital, which will improve their coverage? Shouldn't that be a limit? This stuff will be capable of that.
Right. So, and then just briefly, I wanted to give you guys a snapshot of some of the other towns that we've sold almost the identical system that you guys would be getting in. I mean, we're all over the state, and this is only what I could really fit in the town column. We have a lot of simulcast systems out there. Most of these have been sold by Bill, in two-way. Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of tried and tested, it works, and, you know, obviously, if at any point anybody wants to go see some of these neighboring systems, we'd be happy to, you know, show you guys.
So one of those up there actually brings up one of my other points. Hanover PD, their output on their repeater is the input of our repeater for PD, and it has at times caused some interference issues.
So here's the thing, so is it Hanover Dispatch, or is Hanover PD?
Hanover PD.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, so this, go figure. So the one on here that Hanover Police and Regional Dispatch, that's actually, we sold them their dispatch consoles.
Yep.
Their system is actually, it's actually Tate.
Yeah.
It's not Motorola. Yeah,
So
so,
the question that
That's
brings
not-
up for me is if it's discovered through this whole process that a frequency change is required, is how much is that going to add to the cost of acquiring the new license, going through the frequency coordinator, and then the reprogramming, if any?
I think I put some, I have to look at my civil number, but I think I added a line just to be thorough for FCC licensing, knowing that you're gonna need, obviously, some license modifications for simulcast. So I didn't carry a significant number, I think it was around $2,500 off the top of my head, which is a significant amount, and that we could use, you know, we need to get ahead of that if that's an existing known issue. Motorola is gonna have language to protect themselves from their design of existing conditions.
Yep.
So anything that you know like this that we can get ahead of and factor into the design process, let's do it, you know, like,
Okay.
if it ends up needing a new frequency, then we can go down that road. We could probably take care of that again under my scope of services rather than Motorola's.
Yep.
And, just handle it head on. Yeah.
and that's something that, I mean, from the equipment perspective, the only thing that, like, even if you did the frequency change during post-sale, right, after the system's sold, it's really just a matter of changing the combiner, right? And then
Yeah, the
maybe some-
combiner design is up in the air right now because we don't have the DPW channels in the mix anyways. So that would have to be ironed out and mixed with police and fire.
Right.
So there's gonna be some work to be had there anyways. I think just the knowledge of having that issue in front of us is a win, because we can take care of it, you know, rather than deal with it later.
Now, are there any changes that need to be made at the dispatch side of things?
Because you guys are dispatched by Goffstown, right?
Correct.
Yeah. No.
Nothing, no, they would talk into your system the same way as they do now.
Okay. Other than just
more
going,
efficiently.
is the radio for PD P25 capable at the dispatch center? I've heard
Yes.
conflicting answers on that one.
Question mark, yes. We're not maintaining Goffstown at the moment. Actually, we are, but not Lobstar.
Okay.
That's a question mark.
Okay.
But I believe it is
Yeah, I
P25
would think so.
Because we just put in a new consulate there last year, and I think they just added another one, so.
Okay.
Fairly certain that it is P25.
So,
Got all your questions?
At the moment,
Can I ask mine?
if you must.
Okay, good. With the towers, this is directed. what would, you've seen the cookie cutter lots that the fire station sit on. A, it doesn't sound like that's a problem, the size of the lots.
Not really.
No? And B, what would the towers look like as far as height, base width, et cetera?
Well, we can jump right in, so,
Okay.
civil is next, if you
Oh,
don't have any
all
more
right.
questions on that, I'll jump right in, so.
I guess I should have waited.
No, it's all right, it's all right.
Yeah, go for it.
So the civil component, like Scott said, we're gonna, take on directly. We can get rid of some of the Motorola, the motor margin, we affectionately call it. But, they have large teams of civil guys, and they're not local, and of course, they take everything to the nth degree. So this not being San Francisco and being Weare, we're gonna try to keep it real. So, basically, we want to take care of the site development directly with you. It includes everything: towers, cabinets, batteries, microwave connectivity, generators. We've got hardware in there for the installation. And we're also integrating the Motorola equipment at the same time. So the Motorola side of the house will have dollars to have us rack stack and bring stuff out to the sites. But on the civil side of the house, we're going to be populating the towers with the antennas and whatnot. So we'll be installing the Motorola gear on our civil paper here. I put a note at the bottom here. It's sort of a clumsy way of putting this, and I'm not really sure a better way. But like Scott said, the runaway train thing. I want to approach this civil effort in a safe way, and kind of, like I said, keeping it real. The numbers that I've put together, they are changing rapidly, and what Jack saw from me months ago has already changed quite dramatically, quite shockingly, actually. But what I'd like to do is, we'll go forward again, take it head on. I have right now a spreadsheet of all the budget lines that I put together for concrete work, site development, tower steel, the cabinets themselves, and I can refresh those numbers periodically. But I guess the moral of the story is those numbers are changing very quickly, and not in a good direction. So, I would ask that we go forward in a way that, I don't want to give you a firm fixed quote. I'm not going to throw a bunch of risk dollars in there either, because the risk just goes back to me if I don't actually use it. So my best practice is just put a nice budget out there that makes sense and gets everything done. And then if it comes in less, you keep the change. I don't bill you for the additional.
But
And
you're
it's,
anticipating the price you give is what you see
yeah,
contract in March.
yeah,
May.
yep. So I've,
You factored in your worried beads.
yeah, there's twofold to that. I don't want, I believe my number is very safe, but if it's high, the benefit is yours. If it's low, then I ask you to bear with me and just make us whole, right? And we work together to shake that out. So it's worked very well in the past, and I think it's a real nice way of doing it. So essentially, it almost becomes a time and materials based on our experience, but I'm giving you a nice solid budget to start with, so you know where we begin. And then we just let it shake out from there. I think I've been pretty safe, too. I haven't been too conservative with the numbers, but that's how we like to approach it. Site summary, so here's just kind of a list of what we got going on at each of the sites. Mine Hill, we've got microwave systems on the tower, actually 3 in my numbers, one pointing towards South Station, one pointing towards East Station, and then one pointing over to Wolf Hill, which is the link to Concord. I've got some batteries in the mix, and that's the 48 volt batteries that support the Motorola systems. And I've got hardware and materials to make everything attached to the tower structure. And then labor. Labor is all-inclusive, so it's my guys on the ground, and it also includes contracted tower labor for the high work. So we have certified climbing crews that are certified to do the high work, which do so for us. East and South stations, both sites are tower sites. They're greenfield today, small lots, so we plan on erecting 100-foot towers. Now, if you said, gee whiz, Bill, I want to go 120 feet, it doesn't change the needle very far. I think 100's where we just kind of decided that was a good number. It gets us above tree line. We did propagation maps based on 100. And, you know, really at 100 feet, the tower is very unobtrusive. It's almost invisible until you're right there in front of it. So I think that's a good starting point. I included the electrical work to get electrical from the nearest building. Again, kind of keeping it real. I didn't factor in setting poles or running, you know, utility lines or anything of that nature. I assume that somewhere nearby we're going to have power and we can trench and do our thing.
Those towers, are those freestanding or guide?
They are.
They are
Yep.
freestanding?
Yep, and I got
Okay.
some photos. They're actually a nice little tower. We've done a ton of them. HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning cabinets. We work very closely with a manufacturer called DDB. I think they're out of Texas. They make a ton of cabinets for us. So they're outdoor cabinets, they're insulated. They have a small heat pump and air conditioner on the side of them. I've got a photo of those as well. Really nice cabinet, nice way to do it. Generators, you know, I've put in a budget. I think I carried about 12,000 for each site with a generator, east and south stations. Again, we'd reach out to a local contractor and find you a good price. I think 12,000 is a little high. I think, you know, 8 grand should get it done, but not knowing. I mean, everything's going up. I bet you it's probably going to go up. So, you know, we'd find somebody local. And if you have, you know, a preferred contractor, of course, we'd work with them locally. Microwave system, we've chosen to go with Cambium. We've been with Cambium for about 25 years now. I know most of the engineers very well. Tried and true, we've worked with them for many, many years. They're also blessed by Motorola. And the system that we've designed is Motorola spec, so it is a little above a traditional build for us, but we've done what's called a Class A antenna environment and factored in their requirements for a hardened backhaul. So it's a very robust, mission-critical, public safety grade microwave system. Batteries again, just batteries for to support the Motorola equipment. We've got the hardware materials, make things happen, and of course the same labor. Chase and Clough are a little more basic. Now these are not slotted to be transmit sites, these are just receivers. So the sites are a little more simple. We plan on reusing the little towers that you have at these sites. They're actually nice little towers, they really are. I think they're what, 30 feet, maybe?
Sounds right,
Yeah,
30 or
they're
40.
not very tall, but they're nice. They're I believe they're a Roan product, and they seem to be set well. They got a good concrete base, so nothing really to complain about there. So we've got some site prep to be done. Plan on just doing some leveling, grading, throwing in a concrete pad. Some electrical work to bring power from the nearest building. I know over at Clough there's a concern about trenching, and I carried a very big number for trenching, but I think the power's been brought there.
Power's
now.
there.
Okay, good. So that can be backed out, obviously. And then at I have an awful time remembering the name of the Chase. Chase is a small outbuilding there that I plan on just stealing some power from that. Hopefully it has power. And then we'll drop in, you know, HVAC cabinets, and we've got the hardware and the labor to get that set up. So those are pretty straightforward, much smaller scale. And then Wolf Hill, if that site becomes necessary because of a connection to Concord, we've got some microwave gear there and the hardware and the labor to put that on the tower and align it. So that's a look at basically what we got going on at each site.
Who owns that site, Wolf Hill? Is that a cell site or is that
I was just,
cell tower?
I think that's a cell tower, yeah.
it is, we were just there for the county, because actually Hillsborough has some equipment there.
I thought it was Castle. I thought it was
It's probably a Crown Castle site,
Crown
yeah,
Castle.
yeah. But it is a commercial tower site. So this is just an example, and Jack, I think I sent you pictures of this. I don't know if you got out to see it or not, but this is a relatively fresh site. We built this last summer. This is in Londonderry. So if you wanted to see the tower in the flesh, that's it. It's got a relatively compact footprint, so that's 100 feet tall. And when you stand next to it, you can grab the tower like this. I mean, it's really only this wide. So it's a fairly small tower. The footprint is very tidy. Now what you're seeing there for concrete at the base of that tower on the right, roughly 6 by 6 maybe. And now it will go down, and then underground, about 6 feet under, it's more like 12 feet. So there's a big foot underneath it that gives it the ballast.
60,000 pounds.
Yeah, there's a lot of concrete in the ground. These towers are not inexpensive to construct, but on a scale of versus a commercial tower, it's very inexpensive. And they're a nice little tower. It's called the Weld series, made by Trilon. We've done dozens of these towers, and they're really just, they're a pleasure to assemble. They're easy to work on. They've got integrated cable management. Just makes a very tidy site. Now, you wouldn't need as many antennas. This has microwave dish at the top, which is a little hard to see, and then a whip on the top. That would essentially look like your sites, and then that side rig there with the additional whip would not be necessary. That's an example of the cabinet. That is a heated and air-conditioned cabinet. Realizing now that's a bad photo because you can't see the air conditioner, but if you look in the lower right photo there, the smaller photo where you can see the cabinet, you can actually see the air conditioner kind of popping off the side there.
But the receive sites wouldn't be that big, correct? Receive only.
It'd be the same size, yeah,
Okay.
same cabinet, yep. Just less equipment. Now, the cable management's down low. You can see that we have an ice bridge to protect the cables and whatnot. So this would be very similar to what you would see at your two stations. Pretty straightforward. Any questions about that? And that's in Londonderry. I'm sorry, Litchfield. We have almost the same tower in Londonderry as well. So if you wanted to visit one, we definitely can give you a list of places you can go to see them. So my pricing summary, so kind of a breakdown of what you saw on Scott's slide. This kind of gives you, the scale of per site. Project activities, that's things like my project manager that would work with you directly. Things like the FCC is in there. So that's basically just project-wide items. Mine Hill, 57,000. East Station and South Station, those are your big ticket items. A lot of that is the tower. The tower budget sheet that I put up, that I used to make the number for the tower, came out at just under 100,000. And that, things that roll up under that are things like concrete, the steel, the site prep. And you've probably got a pretty capable DPW here. If there's anything that you can shed off of that and do with us, obviously that would save costs there as well. Again, that's a two-way street, trying to save money, and it's a give and a take. So if there's anything on my scope that you can take away or do yourselves, absolutely, and I'll even help you do it. Just makes it that much easier and fair.
Now, that Clough Park number, is that inclusive of that trench you were talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is in there. And I think it was pretty significant too, because I was scared about how long that trench was. It was like 12,000, I think.
Okay.
And so that can be backed right out. And actually, that's almost makes up the difference between the two, because Chase and Clough are,
About the same.
scope-wise, pretty
Yeah,
similar.
okay.
Right? So yeah, that number definitely can fall. Wolf Hill's pretty straight up. There's not a lot we can do there. It's just hanging.
Hanging the equipment.
So that's our total civil budget, about 453. And that's all I had. Any questions about that? And we can play Stump the Radio Guy. I love it. Any questions you have about anything that we presented as far as the Motorola solution, the engineering, P25 versus analog, simulcast versus not? I mean, I can answer whatever you need to know, whatever. I
So-
can tell you're a radio guy because you've had good questions, so you obviously dig radio. So if there's anybody else that has questions, I can glad to.
Is currently both fire and police, I know that the potential for fire change is coming, but are dispatched via Goffstown over the air to Mine Hill.
Sure.
In both of your opinions, is that the best way, or should they be IP to Mine Hill?
Absolutely should be IP. I mean, it is suitable and it does work. But what we like is command and control. I mean, Motorola will tell you command and control is the best way to have it, and that's by having a physical connection.
Yeah, hard connection.
Yeah, and microwave is a physical connection, and it gives you that command and control over the system. So ideally, the best way is physical connection to your dispatch center, but there's plenty of folks out there doing it without it. And, you just...
Right.
Yeah, in a P25 world, you're not going to notice any degradation. You wouldn't even know that it was remote versus wireline. in the analog world, yeah, there's gonna be a slight, you are gonna have a little degradation because it's another wireless link.
Right.
Really, what the command and control brings to the table is the ability to talk over people, and that's really what it's about.
Dispatch's ability to.
Yeah, and that, it really can be an important factor, especially if there's somebody who's commandeered a radio or doing something that they shouldn't be doing on the radio system. Dispatch can actually take command and control of the system.
Like kill the radio, do a remote kill.
Yeah, not just that. I mean, you can do that over the air. You don't need a wireline to do that. But it's that physical. We can program the system to give priority to that wireline, so that if there is somebody sitting on a microphone or in a panic situation where they're just keying and just talking and talking and talking, and the adrenaline's up, dispatch has the ability to talk over them and get other units responding or something of that nature without them blocking that call, which is a reality.
Now, have you done a full evaluation of our current radio infrastructure?
I have.
What is your opinion of the current setup?
Well, it's hard. I don't want to be disrespectful. I give you.
There are a lot of shortcomings.
There are, and I came out quite a few years ago. I think after some incidences and basically took a look at what you had, and it was a little shocking. Some of the ways that it's built it's old school in nature, and there are some amateur components, and I don't mean that.
You mean like ham radio components?
Like ham radio
Yep.
component, yes. And so it's not a public safety duty system.
So the reason why I asked this
Does it
is
talk? Yeah.
I did a test with Selectman Hippler a month ago, roughly, and we set up a transmit receive site at his house, which is in line of sight of Mine Hill, about 100 to 200 feet lower elevation, with call it a 5/8 wave antenna on the roof of his house. Using P25 VHF, I was able to talk to him from leaving his driveway all the way down to the end of Interstate 89, all the way up to exit 5 on 89, up through Henniker and all the way back, and only lost the capability of talking twice. Switching in town, you could have somebody standing basically at his house on a portable looking at Mine Hill on PD or fire frequency, and it's just static.
Yeah.
Is that a voter issue? Is that a Mine Hill issue?
Probably a lot of issues there.
Okay?
So you were talking just simplex between
Simplex
his
only.
home and on a portable, so
No, on a mobile.
mobile.
Yep.
Okay. Well, P25 masks a lot of coverage concerns.
And we also did analog. We switched between analog and digital.
You probably sense that, right? So you got that heavy static,
Yep.
and P25 doesn't reinvent coverage. It doesn't create coverage. It fixes, it's called perception of coverage, right? So in the area where analog degrades to the point where you really can't understand it, and you probably reproduce this, right? It was staticky. You could barely, I can't copy you, go to digital. You switch over to digital, all of a sudden it's loud and clear. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. Well, at that point, the data is allowed to get through, right? Because your voice isn't being transmitted, it's just data.
Yep.
And your data was able to be reconstructed with some correction and stuff by the processors. So you're not sensing background noise, you're not sensing that degradation of signal. So your perception is, oh my God, P25 is going to fix everything. Well, it's really not. It fills in voids. What you've got for issues with your radio system is the concept of how the voting takes place. You've got components that are amateur voting, comparator parts.
Yep.
You've seen them.
Yep.
And you've got some components that are dated, maybe not up to performance specs. Maybe you've got some antenna issues. You've got a system that on paper looks awesome. You've got, what, 7 sites? 7, 8, 9? There's a whole bunch of them.
At least 7, yeah.
There's a bunch. I remember going to every single one of them. And I thought the same thing when I drove up to every single one of them. I went, well, great site. Too bad it's 30 feet off the ground. And
The other problem too is they were selected as the American convenience, not by location for performance.
Yeah,
Because we owned them.
that's,
Right,
yeah.
because we own the property. We own the
Yep,
property
town
with its
property
tag.
and whatnot.
Right.
And I think by and large, you've seen the design that Motorola's put forward, with some, sites that are town-owned. And, truth be told, I don't think the south site is in a perfect location. But with the way we're
It
winning,
works.
we're winning with elevation.
Mhm.
We're winning with that design and that elevation.
When we
So-
looked at that US South site, the rent was just so high.
It's
on that
rent,
site,
right?
it's just
Yeah.
not worth it, so.
National debt.
So
Yeah.
where I'm kind of going with this, you've seen it, and obviously the testing Selectman Hippler and I have done is proven it. There's a definite problem with the system we have in place. Is there anything you would recommend that we can do in the interim? Because potentially we're talking 1 to 2 years before we can get a new system in place.
Yeah.
That's still 1 to 2 years that we're still dealing with radio issues. Is there anything we can do in the interim that's not gonna cost $1 million,
No.
that's gonna give us any kind of improvement? Is it removing the voter sites altogether? Is it taking a couple out of the link? Is it do we do IP fiber from a couple of the sites now ahead of time?
Do we switch PD to digital, P25 now?
That's a good point. I like the way you think. I think, okay, a good assessment or a good let's check out Mine Hill, right? Mine Hill is your important site.
Mm-hmm.
If you're standing line of sight and trying to talk through it and it's not working, something's broke. I mean, that's just,
It's pretty
that's
clear.
pretty
Yeah.
obvious, right? So if you can see the tower and you can't talk through it, that needs to be job number one. Why can't we do that? Your point about maybe getting ahead some of the fiber,
Mm-hmm.
why wouldn't we consider taking Clough and God,
Chase Park.
Chase, I'm sorry, that name, I can't get in my head. Why wouldn't we try to get ahead of that and maybe do some wireline connectivity from there to Mine Hill? Maybe preemptively,
Mhm.
knowing that down the road, we're gonna use it for the new system. But I wouldn't think that that would be bad to go ahead and preemptively get some of that connectivity.
But that's just
in.
getting to Mine Hill. I mean,
Just that, yeah.
what about the reception of Mine Hill going back to dispatch?
Well, there's really nothing we can do about that. I think there's some definite challenges with the voting system. I think that's what's causing issues with dispatch.
Okay.
Because they should have the power to get to you, no problem. And they're,
Couldn't you go up there and like you said, just like, and again, it would be labor, right?
Mhm.
You get two-way to go up and work on it, but just have somebody, I know it's not your system, but just, look at it and say, these are because something's not right, like you
Yep.
said.
yeah, if you're line of sight, it's
Yeah,
obvious.
I believe the chief had a question or comment.
Oh,
I mean, my 2 cents, and this has been for a long, long time, is living historically to the north and east of here, in more than one location. There are many times where I can hear the person talking on the radio, and dispatch will come back with, I can't understand. Well, I can understand them enough through my pager,
Yep.
or through, like in my car driving home.
Yep.
And Goffstown Dispatch is claiming that they can't understand that transmission. I've felt all along there's a disconnect somewhere between Pine Hill
And dispatch.
and dispatch, whether it's
Okay.
in their console,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Well, that's certainly worth looking at as well.
But I think the one takeaway from the conversation isn't necessarily to look backwards, other than to recognize this system was probably built on the cheap, since its inception, that predates, 9/11, right? I mean,
Yep.
this goes way back to when we used to
Right.
answer the telephone.
Yep.
And it's a good, I think the value of that is to understand that if you're looking for longevity and a generational change and improvement is to be wary of some sort of patchwork approach, though I understand that we're a couple of years out from the solution, but with our eye on the let's build the first class, if you're gonna spend the money, let's build the first class
right.
solution, whether we're included in that or not.
And I think just your user experience of that static situation, you've got a good beat on what's going on, right? So if you think about the way the voting system works, and I'll get a little technical here, if everything that you say to each other goes through Mine Hill. So when you're talking to the truck down the road, you're not talking to the truck, you're talking to the system, and the system is talking to the truck. And I think what you are experiencing is you can hear somebody, why can't dispatch? And that we should look at as well, because that's something we can fix, and that's not something that's gonna go away in the future. If they're going to need to access your system down the road. So whatever that needs to be fixed, we should concentrate on that as well. But I think you've got some really obvious, glaring deficiencies in the system. Now, back when I made my assessment, there was always an issue with dispatch getting into the system, and my theory, which was never proven, is that your voting system has 8 or so receivers all on the same frequency, and they're all taking inbound calls. If dispatch was to hit a remote site as opposed to Mine Hill, they would be subject to all of the interference and degradation that goes with coming in from a remote site. And back then, your remote sites weren't actually talking very well, and they were on batteries and some other hocus pocus. But if dispatch was to actually, if the voting comparator wasn't doing its job, it would vote one of the remote sites as opposed to Mine Hill, and potentially inject a whole bunch of noise and bad quality into the mix. So the voting comparator itself is a real weak point, in my opinion, as well. So I'm trying to think of a way that we would have to perhaps invest in a comparator for the short term.
At what cost? Approximately. Is that a $100,000 item?
Well, in the system that we've proposed, so if we were to propose a system that was police and fire, today we're just talking about a police system with an add-on for fire that's out of Concord. But if we were to have a fire comparator and a police comparator, the police comparator could be reused for our future solution, so that's not a problem.
Okay.
Fire comparator, we could do an MLC, we don't have to do anything super fancy. It would be a sub $10,000 purchase, but it could potentially be something you'd discard if they did go to Concord in the long term. But if our plan was to build out a fire system on top of police, and we don't go down the Concord path, then both police and fire could be built out with equipment that could be used down the road. And that,
So that's pre-purchasing for something you're still gonna be using anyway.
still gonna be using. So I don't have too many problems with that, as long as we can afford those pieces.
Because my opinion is we have to plan as if the voters do not approve going to capital area fire.
Okay.
That's just the way I'm thinking, is just plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Well, I think, John, you make a valid point too, is potentially before the first key up on the Motorola system is 2 years out,
Yep.
if approved. It's still 2 years out, and we have 2 years of daily functions
And if we can drop
not being answered.
20 grand on new comparators for both systems, plus obviously labor or whatever.
Labor and,
And that would save on this, on top of, it would give these guys, hopefully, better service for the next 2 years until,
and even like you guys are saying, I mean, even if we went to, if, like Bill said, if we went preemptive on Clough and you're not going backwards, it's part of the
it
plan.
needs to be done regardless.
They need to be done regardless.
The
And
weakest link in the builder system is the UHF return.
Right.
Notoriously terrible going through foliage.
So if you could take 2 of those 9 UHF sites off.
Chief had a question?
Oh, Chief, I can't see behind
Well,
Scott.
I just, putting on my budgetary hat, why wouldn't you just buy a new comparer for the PD, since you're gonna reuse it anyways? We know that they're gonna use it. If in a month from now, it's like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever, it might be worth
Fire getting it.
10 grand for us,
Yeah.
because our window potentially is as short as 12 months from now,
Right,
Yeah.
or we're gonna need.
right.
I think it's a very good idea.
And I've really got no heartburn about building anything in stages, as long as we're not buying something that's gonna be thrown out.
Yep.
Right.
You know, and I think, again, I'd have to put my engineering hat on and make sure we're not, missing any pieces, but to me, it seems like we would have to probably lose all of the receive sites except for
Clough and
Clough.
Chase.
And we get those tied in. We approach your carrier and get those over wireline versus UHF, ditch the UHF sites, and see what shakes out. I think it would actually work really well.
Take the next step. You could also run a fiber from Southware and Eastware to Mine Hill. You don't need that anyways. So there's 4 sites that currently use the remote receiver sites that could be enhanced, at least Southware, Eastware, Clough, and Chase. So, and that's pretty much the backbone of the fiber. We've been talking about that. We haven't got the bid back.
Yeah.
But if
So
you
what do
did
you
that-
mean, the other 2 stations, you're gonna need fiber anyways? But
So
are
the
there
4
receive
stations
sites there now?
Significantly,
Yes.
UHF
Yes, sir.
To answer your question, yes.
Yeah, I'd say we bring in as many as we can with wireline,
Those are the 4
convert.
that are gonna already exist.
I mean, because if you're like you said, if you're talking, the equipment's already somewhat there as far as antennas. Maybe they're not the best quality, et cetera. But if you could all put them into that, why am I drawing a blank on what we were just talking about?
Comparator?
The comparator. I was gonna say combiner, but comparator.
Comparator, yeah.
If you could get all those on there, you're that much further ahead rather than using that UHF link.
No, I
You know.
think getting, really focus number 1 is to get everything off of UHF, and then get the comparators that you have today out of the mix.
Right.
I think they're a ham radio, amateur radio comparator. They're very, very inexpensive units. They're made for hobbyists. No, they're purely analog.
Right.
Yeah, copper analog, yeah, and so they have those plumbed into mobile radios, commercial grade mobile receivers, and, and that's how ham radio networks are built. That's how they're put together, and I think, back in the day when it was brand new, it was, well, gee whiz, this is kinda cool, but it's just not.
So I think as chair, I think we're on a runaway train here. And I think we're kind of getting off topic somewhat. We've gone from a proposal system that Scott has presented to repairing our system right now with Bill. So I think that this is a bigger discussion that we're having now because we have a 2-year plan that we need to look at. All right, potentially. Obviously, we're not going to let Scott's sit and
Correct.
fall down and do nothing and think that whatever repair we make with Bill here is going to be the end of the world. That's not what we're talking about at all. But again, we still have a time gap we need to cover, and right now the coverage is not acceptable.
And
At all.
what we're discussing here could potentially save us money
In the
further
long
down
run.
the road.
Right.
As
Because
both
we're-
of these gentlemen have both alluded to, prices are going up and there's no end in
Correct.
sight.
So, like I said, take the bull by the horns now, do a couple of these repairs that are already forecasted, we may be in the better. For the next 2 years,
Is it
24
possible for
months.
you to work up some quotes or a quote for us on,
Maybe reevaluate
I
from
really-
years past
I'd
and,
be afraid to guess, to be honest. What I would like to recommend is let's get Scott's design and the Motorola engineers engaged. Let's move forward with the design to get what you need. Let's decide what we're doing with Concord and get a design, something that you guys can start budgeting and moving forward with. I can come down and I can spend some time, I can go out to the sites with you again and kind of see where we're at.
Yep.
Because it's been a few years since I've been out there, there's been some power changes. Last
Right.
time when I was out
and
here, it was
that's what I
still
was
solar
thinking.
powered.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, was refresh what you got.
Yeah.
Realize exactly what it would take for Clough, Chase Park, and then go up to Mine Hill and see what you need to do to get the PD on rather on VHF link rather than UHF or IP. Better yet,
I
IP.
would-
Yeah.
I think what we can do hopefully is like a classic wireline backhaul, which I don't even know if is a thing anymore. To be honest, most providers aren't providing copper anymore.
We
So-
got fiber all through.
We got fiber.
So that could actually be difficult. That could make our life difficult because we'd have to somehow get that old analog technology to talk over light, and that would be an investment in something we would potentially throw away. So let's try to find out what is at our disposal. Can they still sling copper to these sites? Can we still get an old-fashioned, radio
Phone
line.
Yeah, radio line, yeah.
It may be possible and it may not be. If
Okay.
it's not, that's gonna change our whole scope.
Telephone twisted pair?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
they're already there.
And,
They could be there, just like the fiber optic.
I think
But
fiber's
it's
already
still-
on the hill, it's on my hill.
yeah.
Yeah, it's already
just
on
the
Mine Hill.
copper. I know it's the old copper is probably still there, but it's, will they allow us to
Yeah,
use
will
it?
they use it and
But
can
is it
they-
fiber now?
It is, but with our plan of trying to resurrect or keep your existing system running until cutover to the new stuff, we need an old-fashioned transport to get it from those sites up to Mine Hill. So if it's there, it's kind of a win for us. We can utilize the old technology. And honestly, we gotta see if they'll let us do it, and can we get in and out of it without a long-term agreement?
Yeah.
Will they let us use the copper for a year?
Year or two or
My
whatever.
take is that we're gonna sit down with them and go, look,
This is what we wanna do.
yeah, you're not gonna get anybody else to pay for this
Use
stuff,
it.
so
No
let
one's
us,
using
let
it.
us rent it for a few years, and then at least you're making
Yeah,
a
hope for
couple.
the best, yeah, yeah.
Before you make it completely obsolete, but
So,
let's get to the point where we know where we're going, and then I'll come out and spend some time with you guys and get this thing patched together and at least make it so you can talk,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's not many changes that need to be done to our stuff, right? I mean,
No, I think we've gotta just, my numbers, what I'd like to do, we gotta sit down and look at all the lines that I have in there and remove things like the trenching and fine tune some numbers, and maybe the DPW can do this, that can all shake out. I think the biggest variable I see right now is Concord dispatch or no? Is it?
Which
is it
we
gonna
won't
be
know
a-
until March.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so,
what's the big thing that might turn the
Money.
voters will say?
There's added money for the dispatch services from Concord.
okay.
I
So-
think that's an important part of the discussion,
Right.
right, that if we're talking, whatever, $200,000-300,000 more.
Be significant,
that's
yeah.
important to know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you'd like to see then Concord plan, all fully baked, so you have that, all those numbers, and then a plan to have your own local fire, which would be a mirror
Basically
mirror of
replicate the
police,
but,
yeah.
well, whether it's anyone to
You got
Yeah.
the numbers, we just.
Yeah, and Bill, you
Easy, yeah.
said your civil number is not gonna really matter much except for
No.
Wolf Hill, right? That's the only thing you'll pull out.
Yeah, my civil, if you actually build your own local, my number goes down.
Goes down,
Yeah,
yeah.
cause
Cause it's 30,000 off of Wolf Hill.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
actually, I have to back that up because we do need bigger cabinets. So if they combine,
You got
more
22
equipment.
grand's, 12,000 for
Mhm.
cheese.
yeah, my cabinets go from a single to a double, cause we would run out of space pretty quick in that single if there was both of
Okay.
them in it, so.
But you're losing microwave equipment off mine and Wolf to talk.
Yeah, and that's-
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, be about net zero, so.
Okay, perfect.
Anything else?
I don't have anything. John?
At the
John?
moment, no.
Awesome.
Thank you for coming out, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you both, gentlemen. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
What about pricing? Is there an attempt to bring this on the warrant this year?
Well, I think that's a discussion from the board level right now.
If it is, it's December 30th, I think, is the number
Huh.
you need to have.
Yeah, we,
So, you want these guys to do something in the next week,
as far as,
pricing, to true this up? You gotta-
well, I think if we went conservatively, if we went 1.3, I think we'd be pretty safe. Are we, I mean, it was 1.34.
323 or
Yeah.
something like that, yeah. Fire number, the other option now as well? Or did that come later, or did you need that?
I think we ought to know that if we're gonna be.
I think we pretty much know that,
Okay.
unfortunately, yeah. Roughly, within numbers.
I just wanna make a point that if you want something out of these gentlemen between now and
A week from
next
now.
week,
Yeah, right.
you need to be specific. You wanna go with the number the way it is.
Right.
And they mentioned, should we get closer, well, am I correct, we can change the number of the delivery section
Well,
down?
I guess you lost me altogether, so I don't know what your plan is. I mean, the selectmen have to either move forward with it, you're not gonna do half-heartedly.
No?
So are you gonna move forward with it? You can put an article on the warrant and you can alter it at the delivery session, yes.
Right.
But I'm not sure, we haven't had that discussion.
Well, I think that's the discussion we're gonna have moving forward here in a few minutes.
Okay, but I just
Is-
wanna
is a
make
plan.
sure that
Yeah.
if there's a pricing thing you need it out of them.
No, I think,
If you need something from us, just let us know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we've got business right through between the holidays, but if you give me a couple days' notice and when we need it, we'll figure
Yep.
it out, we'll get it to you.
okay. Much appreciated, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Scott, is there any way to email that presentation to,
Yes,
say,
I told
Naomi?
Jack, I'm gonna send it to you and Naomi as soon as
Okay.
they get back.
I'm just thinking that there was some, I know that they're only good for 2 weeks, but there was some lease numbers on there that might
Yeah.
be appetizing to
Absolutely,
us,
yep.
that's all.
Do that.
Oh, yes.
Good idea.
Leave one for him. There we go, perfect.
Oh, gosh, yeah, that's actually Bill's court. Right, I gave it to him because he lost his other one. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
So I'll take one.
Naomi, is that water all right out in the hallway? I forgot my bottled water.
You getting to the end of this, I'm about ready to die.
I was just.
Gotta get new batteries for your clock, huh?
Budget item.
Budget item. Thinking the same thing.
Good night. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Tom, Merry Christmas. Look at Jim's a diehard, he's hanging out.
He's hitting on
Come
the-
late and stay
Nobody
late.
home?
The kids are like this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't, my wife's making beef broth or something like that for Candy.
Come on, guys, you don't have your discussion out there, let's go.
Yeah, because I've been up since 3 and my ass is dragging tonight. This is all.
I left the house this morning, I've been up since 3 and left the house, went to work.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped.
Yeah.
It's not far off.
In 4 years, I think this is the most tired I've been at a meeting. I usually try to,
You and me both. Come on, guys. Hit the gavel, get their attention, John.
whack the gavel.
Well, John ain't back up here yet.
Who?
John,
He's out there.
He's right
Is
there.
he?
Yeah, he's
They're having their
there.
own
He's standing there.
Hey,
Hey!
let's go.
I know, I see that.
Sidebars.
All right, short break, reconvene. Here we are. So, reason I asked if we were gonna get that information was, mostly the fact that, oh yeah, there goes my pile of stuff. Was maybe those, instead of the lump sum number, maybe the lease is more our speed. That's what I was thinking. If you look at some of those numbers, they were $200,000 a year.
For the
10-year
10 years.
lease
Right,
was just
but-
under 200.
But
right?
even the 7, I think, was like 216 or
And
something.
that's zero down.
And that's zero down. And we may be able, like I said, snip that significantly with this ARPA money. So that was what I was very interested in. I think it's, as one member of the board, I think that's pliable. If we put a good down payment, even say, I don't want to say half, but even a third
I was thinking more than that.
or 2/3 of it, say, and make a pliable number for a 5, 6 year, 7 year lease or whatever at the $200,000 a year.
We put 2/3 down, that lease number is gonna drop substantially.
Correct, and I understand that. But I'm saying is that we don't have to we don't have to lump sum the entire project.
Correct.
We can lump some and finance some
So
and make it pliable.
if we.
I don't know what those numbers look like. I don't have a clue.
You don't know what the interest rate's gonna be. Some of it was, what, 20-something%?
No,
Right
no,
now-
no, 2%.
2%, I couldn't see that.
2%,
Yeah,
2.1, 2 point
But
something.
that could change tomorrow.
That could.
And they're talking, the Fed's talking about going up with the interest rate 3 times in the next few months.
But you feel what we're saying, though.
I know,
is-
so I'm saying is we're just looking to take ARPA money, we've got we got 900
900 something over a 2-year period.
over a 2-year
Today you
period.
got 450.
Yep.
So we got 450
You don't know when the
now, so
other
now how
half's
much are
coming.
you
You
gonna
don't
spend on other things? So how much is your down payment gonna be to offset it? That's what you're gonna look at.
Right, in the next,
And you've gotta take it out of one section and then the next section. You're gonna take it out of both, one out of now and one out of later. I mean, those are the things. And
Well, I think-
how much are you gonna take out of it to offset your expense, and then how much are you gonna have left to
So
spend?
before
without
we
your
even
work?
do that, so say we take 2/3 total out of the $900,000 that we're getting, round numbers. Do we have to go to the voters for a warrant article to enter into a lease agreement for the remainder?
I believe you
Anything
do,
over
yes.
$100,000.
And if they say no, then we can't touch the radio system.
That's,
Right.
that's correct. It's definitely,
Oh, it's a gamble anyway.
it's a gamble regardless.
Yeah.
You have to try, because if you
mean-
don't, you're never gonna improve
Which
it.
way are you gonna get it through? A bigger dollar or a smaller dollar? That's the way you.
Oh, I agree.
Right.
The smaller
Yeah,
dollar.
I'm
You
thinking
run
the
risk.
cookies.
The last time we did this, it was no means no, and it was
Yeah.
hung on for,
Right,
Yeah, forever.
right,
couldn't even talk about even repairs,
Right.
right.
so.
I guess where you guys lost me was figuring out what we were gonna Band-Aid.
Right, well,
Yeah,
we'll take that and, I mean,
That's
that could be down the road.
That's a
That could be-
different discussion.
That's a different discussion.
Well,
Well, not
But-
Not
is
really
it?
down the road, but it's a different discussion.
No, it's actually part of this discussion, I think.
right, because I guess what I was looking at, and that's why I thought I was tuned in, and then I felt I'd tuned out because I didn't understand what you guys were talking about. But if you go in, some of these components that you're going to use for a Band-Aid
Or old-
alluded to me that you were going to still use
Yeah.
them.
Yes.
And I realize some of
Purchase them
Right.
ahead of time.
So you're gonna pre-purchase them to, I mean, here we are at the end, obviously.
Yep.
And to pre-purchase some of those to make a better system and,
Which they'll be able to reuse with a new system.
right, and I was just thinking, as a year-end purchase, you could purchase some of it with that, and let's, I mean, the worst thing you can do is charge in and not be prepared.
Right. So,
So if you, my thought was if you purchase ordered something, I mean, some of it sounds like you might not reuse,
right,
but $10,000, what is that of the
You'd be
chance of
fine.
saying no,
right.
you know?
So I think what John and I and Bill were talking about was Clough, for instance, was $30,000 of groundwork with
Civil
Bill,
work, that-
with Bill.
Yeah,
And it was gonna be, let's use a rough number, probably 10 in Motorola, each site. So let's say,
50.
let's say 40 or 50 per site.
Yeah.
Was to do those on our own. They have to be done anyways, even with this
Okay,
Motorola
so I got that.
idea.
Which would be
What's
an
this
improvement
thing
on
that-
both systems.
What's this thing that you need for dispatch?
The comparator? Is that what you?
Whatever.
Yeah.
What is that?
So you have multiple remote receive sites that all transmit back to Mine Hill, back to the mothership. And it's supposed to check for the strongest signal and then use that to talk to dispatch.
And mute the rest of them.
It's not doing that.
It's not
just
doing that.
It's taking one at random.
So if you do this $50,000 worth of work and buy this,
Well, times
Comparator.
two,
Times two.
Comparator.
Yeah.
times two. Because you got
So
Chase.
you're
and-
talking 120, all said and done, because
'Cause you got
two
Chase.
$10,000 comparators,
Yeah.
one for fire, one for PD.
Roughly, you don't know what, he
Rough.
didn't give a firm
Rough,
number
this
on
is,
the
this
other
is all
one.
rough
Just
numbers.
talking all rough numbers.
well,
right.
just.
And then
just-
50 and 50.
But your groundwork was gonna be different because the trenching didn't have to happen.
Correct. So you're probably talking less than 50
Right,
per
that's what I was
site.
thinking.
Right. So you're probably talking 100 to 120,
So you PO that out of this year's money,
and that's stuff that already needs to be done. Now, granted, is it a big chunk of the project? No.
right?
But is it part of the project? Yes.
Well, one of the nice things about what we're discussing is that needs to be done regardless whether we move forward with Motorola or we keep the current system we have.
Right.
And this will still offer some kind of improvement, however marginal it is, it'll still offer an improvement. And it can still be used it can still be used in the new system if the voters approve a new system.
Correct. Yes.
So it's essentially pre-purchasing stuff we know we're going to need anyway.
Right.
And it's going to potentially offer fire and PD an improvement today
For the next,
Versus 2 years.
versus 2 years
Correct.
from now.
Yes. And then what we were talking with Bill about was reevaluating the two stations at south and east with what the systems they have and turning those into receive-only sites, which right now they are UHF link with the rest of the system, taking that off, turning them into receive-only, and sending them up phone line to Mine Hill to the comparator, and that's 2 more sites listening and being
Ahead of time, which is what
ahead
they'd
of
already
time.
be doing.
And
short
granted,
of the
you're
tower.
you're gonna have some labor and you're gonna have some recurring cost of the phone line, but for probably what, less than
Or
10
half the
grand?
work's already done,
Yeah.
because now you gotta install a 100-foot tower, new antenna, radio or cabinets, and then all the other stuff. But we can at least get the line in place, and take the UHF link
It's a lot
out
of preemptive work that could make drastic improvements to what we have now. Is
but
it,
would be required anyway for the.
is it the fix-all? Absolutely not. But is it,
No, I
is
just
it, a-
don't-
is it
I
a
mean-
more than just a Band-Aid? Yes.
I mean, here, let's take a step back, and the safety word was used during public comment today. I mean, here we are talking safety again. I don't buy the argument that that vehicle is not safe. Doesn't matter, safety, he could get run over, anybody, he could run something over. I think here we are talking safety, we have safety in 2 departments as well that we know about. I think if we're gonna be taking a step forward versus waiting 2 years, and it's something that we're going to not necessarily throw away, something we gotta do anyway, why wouldn't we take some
Now-
initiative and move forward?
I guess the one hinge question I have right now is, like what Jack was saying, was that warrant article 2020 or 2019 that we put forward?
2019.
19.
All right, so that has sunset.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that went away.
All right, I couldn't remember if it was 2020 or 2019. Okay.
We have, you know, part of this discussion with the comparators and putting your pieces in there, some of it's already there. There's copper line already there.
Yeah.
So you're already on that part to match up.
If we
with-
can use it.
With the, yeah, it probably will. I mean, it's the phone company, it's in town, you know, that's, we've
No,
already got it there anyway.
I agree.
so,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a fast stretch. The warning is not to get too enthusiastic about it and sell it, because if it works, you don't want somebody saying, well, so you fixed it, why should we buy the new set? So that's the other thing you've got to look at, it's a double-edged sword. So, you know,
But
if you go out and do it now and go get, and I agree, let's purchase order it, end of the year, done, period. Get it worked, get it fixed, get it Band-Aided, put another Band-Aid or whatever it is, or rip off the other Band-Aids and put a good Band-Aid on it. That's what, basically, that's what it's.
that's
boiling
what,
down to.
that's a better acronym, yeah. Put a good
I mean,
Band-Aid
Instead
on
of
it.
getting too technical, that's what it boils down to. You're ripping out everything that's been cobbed up and Band-Aided together for years and getting it so it works and it works efficiently until you get the new system in there. It'll be more than efficient. It'll be where you need it to be.
We can try to sell it a whole bunch of different ways. You could also try selling it as we're pre-purchasing ahead of time and just,
Well,
Before the prices
but the
continue
problem
to
is
go
you don't
up.
want to do that too much, because then if it turns around and falls flat on its face, then, you know, the new part with the warrant article, just get it pre-purchased for what it is.
Oh, no, I
You don't
agree.
have to sell that right now,
no.
much as I know some people listening won't like that.
But I think what they were talking about when they were saying copper was actually from east and south, correct?
No,
Yeah.
talking to Mine Hill.
Mine Hill.
Right, no, but from east and south to Mine Hill.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
But what we would be doing at Chase and Clough would be fiber.
Potentially, yes.
Okay, that's why I just want to make
Well,
sure.
I think he needs to eval the system again. Put a
Yes,
fresh set of
that's for
eyes on
sure.
everything, and
Yeah.
then come back to us with better numbers.
But I think-
I think this is something that we need, I would feel strongly enough that let's PO this now under 2020, or 2021, excuse me.
2020.
Yeah, because you're getting close to the end of that window.
I would think that that'd be a wise move.
2 weeks.
Honestly.
Yep.
To improve Clough, improve
Just gonna improve the system wherever it needs to go. you know,
Well,
so.
well, specifically, those two locations they mentioned was,
And it's not just that, it's also the fact it's showing to our employees that we're not just talk.
Right.
Because
Oh,
that comment
absolutely.
has been made multiple times over the past years, that all we do is talk, we're making steps.
yeah, trying to, yeah. There's another element here that we've left out completely off the table, and that's our current radio vendor. Not saying that we utilize them. I don't feel as they are up to the task for this, but I think that they need to be, A, contacted, and B, potentially, we're month to month with them, if I remember correctly.
Goffstown?
No, R&R. We're month to month with them, and if we're really gonna start changing the system, eliminating parts, we need to have them in contact for a exit, I'll say. Because I know some of the equipment in the shacks is theirs, so I think that we need to.
Is it theirs, or have we bought it from them and we own it and they just maintain it?
Both.
What do they own?
I don't know, but some of the stuff is,
So we need to get inventory from them of what they own then.
right.
Let's put
And-
it this way, let's get the inventory of what we own.
Yeah.
Better, right, exactly.
That's a
but-
better way to
But I
look at
think,
it.
but I think we need to start to phase one out if we're gonna phase another vendor in, which is what we're talking about doing right now.
Yep.
So I think that's a larger conversation among vendors, is phasing one out, phasing one in, and then doing what we're talking about.
So we need to get a hold of R&Rs, what you saying?
Yes. And maybe not straight away.
I
You're
think
gonna
we
have
ought
to
to
do
have,
something straight away because
didn't get
you're
it.
What I-
you're at the end of the year.
What I say straight away is we need to have two-way come, do their
do their eval first.
do their eval first, and then this is what we're gonna
So-
do, and then.
Are you gonna put it on hold for a PO on this, or you just?
No, I'd say we PO it.
Okay. Well,
But it's
that's-
just, this is all stuff that needs to start working out before action hits the ground, that's all.
okay, well, I think
But I say we do PO the money.
So now we got to have the discussion of how much are we gonna PO, because we don't have a number.
What is our end of year number looking like?
455,000.
And what's our 5%? What do we have to be for 5%?
No, that's the
That's
end,
the end,
that's,
that's the end, that's the
that's
other
end
fund
of-
balance. That's the end of the fund balance. So, with that said, with that number, is that gonna leave us with a full salt shed? That would be the only hinge for me, is we're at $73 a ton.
yeah, well, what are you thinking of purchase order? You're not gonna spend all 455, are you?
No, but if we gotta spend, say,
I-
50 of it, I mean, I want that thing full when we go into the next year.
Right, well, I think the chief's staying here to go talk about his email too. About the year-end purchase.
You have year-end purchases?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is it in your budget?
I'll see then there.
See, what you've got left, and
Is
let's
a
be
combined
honest.
bottom line.
What you've got left is a grand share of non-help.
Oh,
Non-help,
absolutely.
non-benefits, we've all stretched thin here. So it's a combination
Yeah.
that we've got this left over. So, I mean, yeah, here we are a few days before Christmas, talking about it. We didn't know what the snowstorm was gonna be. We still got probably another one coming. You may have one more
Couple
before
more.
the year end.
Couple more.
So we're trying to be conservative. I think Beth has done a great job is taking out everything,
Oh, absolutely.
kind of at a top end, so that we can fill the shed, so that we can fill the diesel and the fuel.
So is
we
so
can-
that number is probably representing filling all that.
I believe that's,
All right, if that's the case, then I'm thankful for that.
yeah. I'm not looking to spend every dime either.
I'm not
I think-
either, but I just
think
wanna make
there's
sure
some
we have
things we
enough.
should get done.
Yes.
You know, I personally think you could, I've got a list from, Benji wanted to PO we're off topic here for a second. Benji wanted to PO $6,000 for renovation of the transfer, and you'd take it out of his budget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That comes off his budget.
To me, that's,
So-
yeah.
We also talked about other improvements that we initially slated for ARPA, about potentially POing too.
Got that too?
Yep.
Mhm.
And then,
What-
the furnace for East Ware, we talked
It's
about.
It's already done?
It's all right,
It is
well,
done?
but
It's already in.
there's no propane to it, though.
Nope, Irving came today, they need to put 3 bottles there.
Okay, perfect.
But that's, again, we can do that this year.
Yeah.
There's things that I think we should do.
Yep. So how much
And
money do we want to set aside for,
Well, that's just it. I think well,
I had 75 stuck in my head.
I don't think it's gonna be enough.
For 2 comparators plus lines?
If you're gonna do the work at Chase and,
Chase and Clough.
and Clough, that's not enough.
You're probably double that.
Right,
You're talking
probably more like
120.
100.
See, I don't, I guess I'm trying to figure out how you're gonna double that.
Well, if you gotta look at, okay, you gotta go that, 120, yeah, that's
Because-
probably close. You gotta also look like, for instance, you're talking about Benji putting salt in the shed, 3,000 tons, it's $220,000 with the current price. That's what he's looking at, 3,000 ton.
And
Are we
his-
still
his-
working last year's price right now?
No,
73.
it's all done.
His shed's at what capacity now? Half
Oh,
to
no.
3/4?
I don't know.
No, but he's looking at what he gets is for about 3,000 tons. So that's,
Is that a year?
yeah.
Yeah, but we're not
Three
Yeah,
looking
but
at,
it was full before.
it's full, it's,
Yeah, but it
I mean, it's
probably
full.
isn't now. He's been out.
It's probably half or better.
But I'm looking, he's gonna look down the road. Now, you say that, but you could get hit with 2 ice storms back to back. I just went to the,
One ice storm Wednesday and one ice storm Christmas Day.
That's what they're saying right
And they
now.
don't take in
and
next week.
I can tell you that, I took a ride from here Sunday to the Berkshires,
Yeah.
and from Sturbridge out to Stockbridge, there was nothing but ice.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's on the turnpike. That's not counting what, now you go to a town road and
All
they
the
just
town.
pour it on there. So, I mean, you look,
Well, I think Naomi's finding out right now, but
Yeah, I texted him to see.
but that's what he's average. That's what his average is, 3,000 tons. That's almost $73 a ton. It works out to about $220,000.
yeah, but that's again for the year.
But if he's gonna purchase it now,
You've got to have the money now.
he may have some of it at the old price, but he's looking at what the new price is. They've already come out with the new price, let's put it that way. They've already put it out. And the thing is, that's what's driving it. You're getting it from the supplier. They put the price out.
But we signed a contract
with
with
them,
them again.
I think with them, it's seasonal, too. It's whenever the season ends, last time.
Right.
Yeah, but we've signed already. Haven't we signed up for that so much?
You go for
That
this.
70-something, that's all it
70-something.
was.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't go up anymore this year.
So,
No, but $73 a ton is what it is. But I mean, you're getting it, and the thing that drove it basically is fuel prices. Fuel for shipping it in,
Yeah,
fuel for
fuel
the
for-
trucks, trucking it up.
but, so, I guess,
So maybe we don't do Chase Park or maybe we don't do Clough Park this year.
Chase Park is probably more important than Clough.
Yeah. And he even
Well,
said his numbers are gonna drop if we don't have to trench.
But you're going to take some money from this ARPA, right? That way you want to take this,
that is the plan, yes, but,
Well, no, what my discussion regarding POing is coming out of our money now.
no.
right.
In the future, yes,
Oh,
I
of
think
course.
putting a warrant article using the ARPA money as a massive down payment and then leasing the rest is where my head is, but I wanna see
Right.
what the numbers are for that.
Absolutely, but they're only good for 2 weeks.
Correct.
So, I think we need to come up with a number based on best guesstimate. Now, with that
Well, those
said,
numbers are gonna be also based upon
I don't
what
like
we
best
PO
guesstimates. I
tonight.
like concrete one.
I do too, but they can't do that for us.
Wow.
But if we go somewhere between, we do all right.
But those numbers you're requesting
So-
are based on the PO we issue tonight.
Correct. So, let me ask this. With,
So let me ask you this. Next Monday night, you have a meeting.
Yep.
Whether you knew it or not.
yeah,
Because Benji's got an increase in the transfer station fees.
oh,
So let's, I mean, the chief is here, waiting on a number.
yes,
So we can fine tune that to next Monday too.
okay.
And maybe
Well, I think that's what we need to do
think
is,
about,
do we have any requests from fire? at this
We do.
point? Okay. So, what,
which is to change over
What's his
the
total?
lights to LEDs.
in the stations?
Mm-hmm. In the main station and south station.
Okay.
Why
$8,500
don't
bucks.
we,
Wow,
this is just me.
They'll pay for
That's
themselves.
paperwork.
Oh,
The chief probably wants to go home. Why don't we listen to him and then go to the paperwork?
Well, again, you probably have a total over there in
I
your
do.
stack. He has a total in his stack,
But
As
that,
big as
his
it may
total's
be.
coming out of his budget from this year.
so we don't
But
have
it's the
to,
same, but it's the
but
same
it's the same
pool.
money she's talking
Yeah.
about.
I'm talking the same money he
450 is
is.
bottom line of the whole budget.
all the budgets.
Right, all the budgets.
Okay.
So,
No, I mean, if you wanna listen to him and let him go, well.
not
you
really, but
guys-
come on up.
But you guys have, we can do this, we can still PO next Monday.
Right.
Yes, right. No, I agree.
So, I think,
Okay,
But with
have
that
fun.
said, I think we need to have Bill on the red hot
sharpen his pencil.
Well, I wonder if he could between now and Monday.
That's what I'm thinking. For the Clough site,
Clough, Chase,
Clough, give a number. Chase, give a number. The
East
Shack.
and, east and south.
No, not so much that, but actually putting equipment up in Mine Hill.
Yep.
Chase,
Clough and
Clough.
Hill.
Clough.
And Mine Hill.
I thought about running fiber from both east,
And what
east
did you
and
call that other
south.
thing? I want to say a combiner. What's it called?
Comparator.
The comparator.
Comparator.
Sorry,
Well, you probably got,
back to.
you've probably got fiber right out there by the lake anyway.
Oh, no, I'm sure we do, but it's,
I know, I
but it's
mean-
actually hooking it up and taking the UHF offline and going fiber from the receiver that's there today, if possible,
To Mine Hill.
up to the comparator on Mine Hill.
Right.
That would need to be done regardless.
Regardless of what we do, but,
Well, you're
so,
just gonna get the
those would
front
be the
numbers by
numbers.
next week.
Okay.
And the comparator,
Yep,
the
I can
comparator
call 'em.
prices, right,
Two of them.
right.
Yep.
One for PD, one for fire.
Yeah.
And then, and basically to sharpen his pencil, see what he comes up with a
Yep.
number. And then that would give us a more solid number to PO.
That would be.
Yep.
I think. And we could also shop and compare. What I mean is, do we want to knock Clough off? Do we want to knock,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. But we have solid numbers rather than us trying to put together his dirt work.
And then we also
And
need to
then-
know what is his hourly rate going to be for going up there and evaling the system and the,
Right.
and that stuff.
And just let him know what our thoughts are on Clough and Chase
Well, maybe
of
we
actually
shop
getting them
his pencil
online to
on
the
that. If he
point
makes
that
a
we were
sale,
discussing
He may
tonight.
not charge you to go
Not-
up
not
and
just
do your
his-
thing.
his with an
Most
empty
places,
cabinet.
it's like getting an estimate, they don't charge
yeah.
you.
Not with an empty
Not
cabinet,
if they're
with
gonna
equipment
get the-
actually in
Potentially,
it
but
to
if
get
this
the
is gonna
money.
be a multi-hour project, maybe a nominal fee. But still, it doesn't hurt to ask for the info.
Right.
The other
They
thing,
can always,
the other thing he mentioned was maybe somebody said maybe highway can do the trenching.
But we don't have to do trenching now.
no, but, that's right. The only thing, if he may have to do it they're looking for him to do is maybe dig a hole. to put
Dig the hole for the
cement.
towers.
For the towers. Right, but that's down the
But
road.
then again, the other thing is that's not a guarantee, depends on what else he's got doing. You can't.
We have to blast in the ledge too, you never know,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
And
the
there's
guy
Chief
here will
Moore.
volunteer for
Well,
it.
look at me, I don't volunteer for none of that. That's,
Is this the latest and greatest list?
Same one.
It's unethical.
So for the public at home, this is
Get main
available
drilling.
I brought mine.
online through the police department's website, under the chief, under the budget.
Right here.
I haven't done too much end of year purchasing in previous years.
The hat falls.
This year, it's projected, I'm projected to have a $168,000 surplus in my budget, mostly due to staffing shortages throughout the year. Last year, I had 136,800. The first year I was here, 199,200. So I definitely tried to take care of the taxpayers' funding our department and not use it unnecessarily. Where we're at right now is we are fully staffed. We hired Chris George, which is our 12th slot. So I don't project to have big surpluses next year. Because the budget hasn't passed since I've been here, I have serious equipment needs because the funding wasn't there. I can go through these quick or in as much detail as you want. I listed them by priority. One is a critical need, two is an immediate need, but I could get it within the next year. Three is a recommended purchase, but not critical, but it would alleviate future pressure on equipment needs. And again, that's pretty much because we have not implemented a life cycle management process yet because the budget keeps failing. And number four is just a desired purchase, but I can probably, well, I will be able to obtain this equipment within the next 3 years, but it's not a critical need. I'm going to start with Tactical Shield. We're just requesting to purchase one. That purchase is $2,420. We keep one in all the frontline vehicles. We have 5 frontline vehicles. We have not bought one since I've been here. We currently have 3 available, 2 which are within their useful life cycle. Any ballistic equipment has a useful life cycle of 5 years, so one's outside of that 5-year window. You want me to go through these one at a time so y'all can figure it out, or just go through everything?
That's fine.
Okay. Second, we bought these before we bought 8 2 years ago. To have one for every officer, we need an additional 6. The price has gone up on them about $100 since the last time I bought them, but this would provide a ballistic helmet for each individual officer. That total to provide a helmet for each officer, an additional 6, is $2,208. The next item is we had a site security assessment done on our IT infrastructure. Based on those recommendations, we need to upgrade our network switching and our sonic wall and netgear. The total cost for that, which is essentially our IT cabinet, is $7,549.97. Just to highlight, well, I'll kind of leave it at that because it is available online. So if anybody in the public actually wants to read the justification, it's in there, including, there are several security risks for how it's configured now. The next just became a very critical need, tasers. So Corporal Muse has been working all year trying to get exactly the life cycle of our current equipment with taser. Some of our equipment was so old, taser couldn't find it in their system. Some was purchased in 2009 and 2010, the majority of it was, and which on equipment that has a 5-year life cycle. In tasers, which is Axon, in Axon's, let's see, right here, actual wording, they have a manufacturer recommended life cycle of 12 years, and it says in there after that 5 years, after that 5-year period is over, the taser's 2 times more likely to fail just because the electronics in it, because it's an electronic component, are likely to decompose. So if we tase somebody and there's something goes wrong, we're on the hook huge. And, I'm trying to prevent the department from getting sued anymore. So because some of those tasers are so old, we have just 4 within the 5-year life cycle. I pulled everything that wasn't in the life cycle off. So we've got 4 tasers among our 12 officers currently because the liability was too huge. That's where we were at with that. So originally I had written up, just as part of life cycle management, trying to get 3 this year for a cost of $6,331.17. Once we got the numbers from Axon, I wrote up the additional 5 to replace the other ones I had to pull off for $10,551.95. The taser components, again, that's something that I've been trying to get in my budget, but I haven't yet. I don't have a taser line at all in my budget. That's just for batteries because we have to replace the battery in them annually, plus cartridges. We have to shoot cartridges to qualify on them. So that's just the annual cost of replenished equipment. Why don't I get that out of my current budget? For my police supplies, I have $8,000. $4,000 of that went straight to ammunition. So that's not much of a police budget left. So that's why everything's itemized and accounted for. Again, my entire budget's online if anybody wants to look at it. The last thing is Sergeant McGuire did some testing on the Tahoe compared to the Dodge. I didn't think I was going to get to do this year because the Tahoe went down for a repair to the dealer. They fixed that in a timely manner. So we have a hotspot in the Tahoe with an external antenna. We were able to see what those two compared like side by side. We would lose connection periodically, like going down River Road, our computer connection, just due to the poor reception of that antenna. We're not losing that with the Tahoe. He's able to put his mobile device on airplane mode, which means it's not getting any other signal other than what's connected to the hotspot in the Tahoe. He can go 70 yards away from the Tahoe and still be able to send text, make phone calls via the Wi-Fi, and use the push-to-talk feature, which is the big thing with the vocality box. So that's a huge improvement. We can do that with the 4 Dodges, upgrade the 4 Dodges to what the Tahoe is getting for a fairly reasonable cost. The total for all 4 vehicles is $6,288. For any vehicle that's approved for purchase.
Who's the service provider for the external hotspot in the Tahoe?
It's with our FirstNet.
It's FirstNet.
Yep. Currently, the 4 mobiles are with Verizon, but as we phase those out, we go to FirstNet.
Okay. The only reason I'm asking is I just want to make sure it wasn't OnStar system Wi-Fi, not, and we're actually talking.
There's a SIM card in the antenna.
Okay,
which is what we pay a monthly cost for too.
correct, okay. So that money for the 1,500 each is supplying external antennas?
External antenna, hotspot, and setting it all up.
And setting it all up, okay. And the reoccurring costs that would go along with that would be?
That's already in my-
Would be switched because it's Verizon the first one?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it's in my telephone line budget.
Okay.
Yeah, and just as a note, any future vehicles we do purchase, I do include that setup, similar to the Tahoe, where it already comes with the hotspot and the external antenna.
Okay.
And pretty much any cost I've listed here is built into my future budgets. I just need one to pass.
What if it doesn't? Are you gonna be able to absorb them?
If it doesn't, no, I'll be back here again asking for equipment again next year.
Right, but this stuff right here, you won't be, obviously. This particular,
No, the hotspots will be good. Tasers will be good.
but you'll be looking at updating a couple tasers, obviously, probably.
I should get, so in my life cycle, I can get 3 tasers a year.
Right, okay.
Right. So that's all of my priority 1 items, stuff that we are in immediate need of. The total cost of those items was $36,648.87. Priority 2 items, typically in law enforcement, we replace our handguns every 7 years. We're on 7 years right now. To transition from Glock to Sig Sauer, which would include a red dot on it for better target acquisition, to do the entire department is $10,948.34. To get 1 patrol rifle this year, again, we have 4 donated rifles. They're mismatched components, meaning some have red dots, some don't have red dots. They're different. They shoot the same ammunition, but they're different setups. To start getting a consistent base, we would obviously need 5. 1 would go in each frontline patrol vehicle. I had it built into future budgets. We would get 1 every other year, so it'd take us 10 years to get what we need. But the purchase of 1 would be $2,602.32. Those are my only priority 2 items. The total for those 2 items was $13,550.66. Priority 3 items, 1 additional rifle if we could, just to get us that much ahead since we're so far behind in rifles. And then we've talked about this. If we go to 24/7 coverage, that would mean I need 2 additional officers. We would need personnel lockers for them. That's it. Those are a little bit pricey. They're $1,304 each, so $2,608 for 2 personal equipment lockers. So we're ready to go if we do get 2 officers. But we can put that off, and that's why it's a priority 3. We can put that off in the future. So that's it for my priority 3 items. Those 2 items were $5,210.32, and just 1 priority 4 item, which was a handheld radar. That just, speeding's the #1 coverage in the town. It just allows us to set up a little bit differently and get more coverage since the radars in the vehicle are fixed, so we have to be orientated in a particular direction to be able to run radar. And that's it. Eventually I'd get 2, but I can get those within my budget sometime in the future. And that's it. I gave the cost of that, right?
$983.
Yep, $983. So the total amount would be $56,392.85. And again, something that I don't take lightly. I'm over 200 to 335, 40. Yeah, I'm almost a $500,000 counting this year, giving it back to the taxpayer. That would be in my budget. So just over 10% I'm asking back for this year just to get these guys the equipment they need to stay safe on the streets. And that's it.
That's all?
Any questions?
Is this got your new numbers with all your
Yes.
emails back and forth?
This is everything. And like I said, this is available online for anybody who wants to look at it. It's all public information.
Yeah, because the one that we got last week was only $39,550.
Right. So we didn't have the information on the
Right, no, I know.
external hotspots
Right.
and the tasers. We got both of that in this week
All right.
with the additional 5.
Board members, what do you think? Radio silence. Better than radio static.
Well, you gotta get what, 4 new helmets?
So we got
8?
8 the first time, so there's 6 this time.
For the part-time.
Plus,
Yep.
You get any part-time people?
I got 1.
You got 1?
Yeah. Hirsch, Hirsch.
Oh, okay.
Is that her?
Hmm?
Is that her married name?
Yes.
I wonder who that was.
Yep.
Ashley.
Ashley.
Well, I think he surely has to have the critical.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Priority one item.
I think the
Priority
priority
one
ones
item.
are a non-discussion item,
Right.
myself.
Just,
Yep.
yeah.
As one board member, I think they're non-discussion.
Oh, no question.
yeah.
Okay. And obviously, I think the number twos are.
Should you listen to everybody's?
Huh?
I mean, should we put them all together?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
to see what
Listen to
everyone else
DPW
is.
and fire.
I'm just thinking
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
the others.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying.
you're right.
You gotta compare to everybody and see what the
Compare
total
everybody.
shakes out to be.
I mean, he put his together nicely with 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can sit back down.
So
Thank you.
the fire was looking for 8501 for, it would swap out all the lights to LED in the whole station.
What would be the annual electric savings?
You had asked that, and I didn't write it down. I'll have to get that.
should be quite a lot,
Quite a lot.
because they're using those old big,
Yeah.
And does that also include switching out the PD side LED or
I think it's the
fluorescent lights?
whole,
the whole building.
it says the main station. All
That
lights
could-
would be provided.
That could just be fire.
That's what I want, I just
That's
want to make
probably
sure.
just fire. Yeah.
All right, we'll skip that one. DPW $6,000 renovations to transfer. I'll ask the chief.
I,
Yeah, that's not,
what?
That would,
Renovations to transfer.
I think the
station.
6,000 is a no-brainer.
right.
If anybody's been in there the last freaking 10
The
days.
building should be replaced, is
The
what it
buil-
should
oh,
be.
the-
Oh, yeah,
it's-
you
it's,
walk through that main door and
You're
you're
gonna
sitting
fall
on
through
the
the
floor
floor.
like this.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're gonna end up down with the hopper.
Someday you're gonna end up in the hopper, down the blow.
Yeah. Down the cylinder.
Yeah, I mean, it,
Yeah.
like
Is he-
Benji said, was built in 1989.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Other than the ceiling, painting the walls, and 2 doors, that's all that's ever been done up there in 30 years.
No, I think the 6,000 is a no-brainer,
yeah.
honestly.
well, he would take the 4 out of his budget
Which is fine. But I think
going
the
forward.
6,000 is a no-brainer.
Yeah,
The place
that's
needs.
the only thing he's
done.
asking for?
That's all he said.
Yeah.
The other things on the ARPA side that we talked about, hang on 1 second. I'm asking the chief about his requests.
Okay.
So we got the AC, the mini splits with the HEPA filters, with the heat and air. The full replacement total, for 12 of them is $64,400 installed.
For this building.
It's 11 at this building and 1 at the transfer station.
Oh.
That's 64 the air purifiers, are $2,000, 1999.50, so. The RO system for the safety complex, the highway transfer station, library, $24,149.
How much?
$24,149. Again, that's safety complex, highway, transfer station, library. Water bottle filling stations at $775 each. So she's got the total project being $775, and that's only here.
Can
And
you-
there was Wi-Fi for the field cameras for the park and rec was $3,000. And then the septic for the Chase Park bathroom was $15,000. You also had a message board for 11.5, but I think you guys talked about
I think we already got
holding
that.
on that one.
Oh, I thought we already got that.
I thought we,
No, there was a second one.
Oh.
We already
You'd
got
ask-
it.
I thought we, I thought we,
I thought we
I thought we
okayed
told
it.
Yeah.
me go get it.
go get it. I thought we told him.
Good. Guess I lost that one too.
One, too.
Need a few more things to do.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
My mistake, it's not, it's just the fireside.
Okay.
I'm waiting on,
Because we don't want the PD not able to see over there.
No, I think it's too bright. It's too bright. Right. We just changed to dim lighting over there.
Yeah, I've got a couple who love the dark.
Yeah.
They're not gonna have any eyesight at age 50.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
So Naomi, can you
They're
just send
conserving
us that list that you have with everybody's on it?
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to make
Okay,
decisions.
so the
tonight.
cost was, if you divide the electricity cost in half, which is approximately $700 a month savings, times 12 equals 8,400. Does that make sense to you?
So he's saying 1 year will pay for itself.
Yep.
That's what I'm reading to you.
Yeah.
Read it again.
If you divide the electricity cost, which is in the police department, by half, which is approximately $700 a month, times 12 equals $8,400.
It's a wash.
And it's 8,501.
In the first year.
It's
Pays for,
8,501.
yeah,
Yeah,
LEDs
pays for
pay for themselves back in the first year.
Well, yeah, that's all I have in my house.
Yeah. All
I know
pretty
my
much
light
all I
bill
got
went down
mine.
too significantly.
The state went to all of that,
So,
all of this.
That's to me, that's a no-brainer. On the fire LED.
Yep.
That'll pay for itself for the first year and pay back dividends everywhere.
And then what I don't have a price, but typically what we've always done is here has got a few extra cases of paper, some ink. You know, there's just some
Yeah,
things
some
that
bulk up. Yeah.
you know, and again, though, I would wait and see everybody's number. And I don't, like I said, those are what I have for you. And I'm not running a tabulation.
Don't worry, I was.
Okay.
The only thing I haven't put on there is the signboard, which I thought we approved.
I thought we did too.
I thought we approved that.
Under the ARPA, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was under ARPA. That's probably why it's not coming out of this number. It was under
Yeah.
ARPA.
But, I mean, doesn't mean we can't PO it out of this instead, because
Short money.
Well, as of right now, without the 11K, with his, all of it is about 181.
You're halfway, a little less than half.
The 181 you said without.
About
the-
181 is
without the sign.
without the sign trailer.
Yeah,
That's-
I just asked
that's
if we get the second one.
That's the 8,500 for the fire, 59,000 for him, 64,000 for the mini splits, 6K for the transfer station, 24 for the RO systems. I put $1,000 for the water filler, 3,000 for the field cameras, 15,000 for septic.
59, he's asking for 56.
Okay, so then.
No, I'm just saying,
179.
but you're gonna get the lockers in anticipation of.
That was everything that he put on his list. That was, I mean, obviously, we gotta discuss, but
Not yet, I'm waiting for approval.
for what?
Second signboard.
Oh, I thought we okayed that.
well,
I didn't think you
it sounds
did.
like, okay, I'll make a motion, we approve the
What's the
purchase
cost?
No,
of
no,
the signboard
it's
from,
$11,500. It was on here, and I didn't think we did.
I thought we approved it.
I thought we approved that at ARPA.
Oh, I do too.
All right, so you were starting to say something.
Yeah, I make the motion, we approve the purchase of a second signboard for $11,500 to come out of the
Year-end
year-end
surplus.
surplus.
Waiting for a second.
Second,
Moved and seconded, discussion. Is that something we could fund out of ARPA?
Do we want to?
Oh,
Personally, I want to use the ARPA money for as much as I can for this, to pay down this radio system, so we can go to the voters and get approval on the least amount of money possible.
So the only thing that I did not read to you, and I don't, is the $117,000 for tennis court.
yeah, not this year.
I didn't think that was,
No.
we haven't even got a fix yet.
No. All right, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
Okay,
Signboard's approved.
so we're gonna individually do these now? Is that what we're gonna do?
Well,
I'm
are
asking,
you,
because,
are you ready for tonight?
well, we just
or do
started,
you
it
want-
seems like we just started down that road.
Well, I'm just saying, do you,
Oh.
we went over things. I didn't say you had to
Yeah.
prove tonight. I'm just saying.
Well, the only reason I made that motion is I could have sworn we all approved it already.
Yeah, so, I did too. I thought that was
Yeah, I
already
thought-
Do you
approved.
want to have, let me ask you, I'm gonna offer you this. What he read, what I read, and everything else, let's shake it on and see what the real number is, and then
What do we
Make
have
sure.
scheduled all for Monday night
the only thing I scheduled you for the public hearing.
so far?
That's it.
So far.
That's it.
Okay.
Only because
What
your
date is-
fees are
what's the
going
date?
up January
Monday.
first,
What's the
Yeah.
date?
I don't know.
27th.
27th, oh,
It's the Monday
You're gonna be
after.
gone.
January 33rd. I don't
I'll
know.
be gone.
He's gonna be gone. He's
Yeah.
leaving.
Okay.
I mean, we can do whatever you like.
No, it's fine. I just,
The day
yeah,
after Christmas.
if
If
you
you
want,
wanna give us
put it on a
some,
spreadsheet, I guess. Put his number on a spreadsheet.
Yeah, put
Put
everyone's.
all the
I'm
numbers on a
happy to
spreadsheet.
do whatever you wanna do. I'm just saying, if you wanna get some off your hair, do some, think about some.
Well, I think what's going to boil back to is I think that basically what we need to do is we need to have Bill make his numbers,
Right.
sharpen them, and put that on the spreadsheet with all the numbers you have in
And
front
then
of you.
look at everything in totality is the way
Right.
to do it, yep.
You still have time.
Have that by
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
Monday night.
Yeah,
That's the question.
next
If we
month.
He
can't,
But-
probably will have it by next week if you get
But let
ahold
me
of him
let me
tomorrow.
back up the bus a little bit here. Is I think that this board right now can make a decision on his priority one items,
Oh, yeah,
Right.
I thought you kinda alluded that.
and I think we can.
Well, yeah, you
I
went
thi-
to the whole package. so
I think we can
priority
move
one
that.
items,
I think we
yes.
can move the priority one package right now
For
30,
36,
for 30 whatever it was.
36, 648, 87, say,
yeah,
yep.
Is that a motion?
Motion.
motion,
Moved. Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
6,
Abstentions?
48, 80.
No.
Said yes.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
he said yes.
All right. So you got your priority one items out of the way.
In that case, I make a motion for priority 2.
Well, we want to look at them over and shake them out, or with what else
I
we
thought
got?
I thought we've already
Hang on,
done
hang
that
on.
already.
So,
Well, I wanted to look at to see what else somebody else brings in.
Priority
two.
two were the
Oh,
handgun
handgun.
transition
Yep.
and the
Yep.
one patrol rifle, which was
Okay, I thought I was looking at something more than that.
which was 13,550.66.
So motion to approve purchase of priority 2 items for 13,550.66.
Moves, there a second?
hang on, let me catch up.
I'll second it. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Abstentions?
No.
Noes? Okay. And we will hold on the 3 and 4.
yeah.
Okay,
Appreciate it greatly.
so then, DPW, the 6 for renovations, that was a no-brainer, but I didn't, you
I
know.
think that was a no-brainer as well, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
Let's definitely do that.
and is
I don't have the
6,000
exact
enough with
Uh,
what he wants to
He's
do?
taking 4 out of his own budget, so there's 10 grand.
Well, no, he's gonna, no,
No,
he's
he
gonna
would-
take
he
the
would
4
take the
off
4 off
of
his
the.
Oh, 4 off his
proposed.
budget. I thought you said he was gonna add 4 from his
No.
budget.
No, he's gonna take 4,000 off the proposed.
I think you should leave
I
it at
think you should
6, because
also-
I think material costs and stuff, I don't know exactly what.
It is 6.
Off his proposed budget, because remember his proposed budget he talked about tonight was going to fix.
I wouldn't.
Was going to fix that.
I'd
Leave
the
it
4
there.
He's gonna get into that with building materials
Sure,
now, the
I
way
would-
they're skyrocketing.
I would leave it,
I'd make it 10 grand.
yeah. Let him, if, he can still take 4 out, but.
I
I'd
don't know
keep
if
it.
we're talking the same thing here.
No, he's got 4 grand in the proposed budget, and he's given us 6 grand here in an end-of-year purchase. PO.
He's gonna use.
6 grand is going to be to fix the bathroom and the floor in
That's
there.
right. But he had 4,000 in his proposed budget.
To do the same thing.
To
To
do-
renovate the bathroom.
Well,
You out of
roughly.
town?
But I think that it's gonna
Christmas?
be, I think he's gonna be short, because I know this, the building supply
That's wicked high now.
is tough, and it's
Thank you.
also it's changing daily.
I don't disagree with that, Jack. What I'm saying is we have a vendor, right? I'm
Who's the vendor
assuming,
that's gonna do it?
right, it's a vendor, and they've locked a price. So if we lock a price of 6K, we're there. I'm not saying that the building doesn't need another 4 grand worth of work next year to look good, or better, I shouldn't say good, but better.
That's what I'm saying, why don't you do it now? You know, you're looking at different things, you're gonna fix a bathroom and do some painting for 6 grand.
No, that's to replace the floor as well inside.
I don't know.
That's not what he was explaining tonight.
I
so-
think is that what that RFP is?
Says renovations, this is all the electrical.
Yeah.
Oh,
The only thing I have is a sticky note.
oh.
No, it says,
So did I hear a motion for 10 grand?
Yeah,
I'll second the motion for
Yeah,
10,000.
we'll do it for 10,000, let him do
Alright.
the floor, and anything else that needs to get done.
Yeah, there's gonna be unknowns in there that you're gonna run into. So-
Okay,
all right, so.
motion, second, for 10 grand.
You know, you talk about, and it's gonna drive somebody nuts, you talk about safety, but one of these guys is gonna go through the floor
Oh,
and
no, I
do
agree.
something up there, and
All
we're
right.
gonna eat the bill for it.
Move
We already
sec-
had somebody, don't forget, last year, go over the rail and.
Move seconded, discussion. All those in favor?
Yes.
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 I'm gonna abstain.
Okay.
You know, to go along with and this is probably getting an awful bit, someday, somebody ought to figure out where the septic tank is for that transfer station.
Oh, it's underneath that, it's underneath the
We
tile.
believe it's underneath the parking lot somewhere.
Yeah,
Because when Kyle was up there, we were
put it
measuring
in?
through the outlet and trying to find it. That's never been pumped.
Who put it in?
When was it put in?
Severino,
We ought to have that on file somewhere.
Somewhere.
There's gotta be a permit, call Concord, it's gotta be
Yeah,
up
there's gotta
there.
be,
he did the transfer station.
89, there's gotta be a permit.
Gotta be. But that's never been pumped, as far as I
Yeah.
know. We know where the leach field is,
Yeah,
down
well,
behind the cardboard baler.
you have to, yeah, it's gotta be on the permit in Concord.
Yeah,
We could never find where the
Wastewater.
tank was.
Go up to Concord and you pull it, right up to DES.
it's good,
That's
yeah.
something
We'll have to
that
look
ought to
for
be
it.
done.
We'll have to look for it at some
Yep,
point.
they file it, they got the
So-
file on it, they get the permit.
Not, so the 8501 for fire,
I think that's where we stop and we start talking.
Yeah,
Myself,
that's-
I think this is where we stop.
We approved that,
well, you didn't with the
8,500?
motion.
No, we didn't do a motion.
I thought we did.
No, you asked me and
No,
I got the payback.
I think we need, before the snowball gets too big, is I think we need to stop.
stop and take a look at that.
And we need to take a look at where we're at now that we've just approved probably over 60 grand worth of stuff.
Yeah, but $8,500,
I understand we're gonna make it back in the next year,
it'll be done in
but
a
it's
year.
already slated in a year. It's already in the budget to go.
You're almost at 70.
Right, we're almost at 70 grand I've already spent, and we wanna do these radios improvement, but we keep spending all the freaking money, we're not gonna have any. So I think what we need to do now
We're
is
gonna look at whatever the price is for, yeah, save it for Monday.
So let's save
save
it
it for Monday.
I do have to ask a question. What are we gonna do with that vehicle out there?
Gotta wait for the state bid to see what's out there.
State bids haven't come out yet.
Exactly, we gotta wait till then.
And pay mileage. I just,
He's not using his vehicle.
No, and I wouldn't do it anyway, because if something happens,
he
we're
said
on the hook for
he's
it.
going to driveways that aren't sanded and salted. He's doing all these other things.
You wanna get the
So
bill for
what are
the
we gonna do?
damage.
I mean,
No
is this,
no
when was
use of the
this
ACO
inspected last?
Built vehicle.
I mean,
can we ask?
we've asked, but I mean, he's not gonna drive it with a paws all over it. To show up, and he just said, I mean, I get it
And I
too.
don't think we can expect them to drive it with all the paws on it, they think he's the ACO, showing up at the door yet.
So.
It's a town
Can-
provided
can he
vehicle, I
use-
understand
Can
that.
he use one, can we ask Benji to use one of the town pickups if it's available?
There's
Well,
no,
there's
It's
only one
only
time.
Benji's that gets
There's
him
only
back
one
and
It's only
forth.
Benji's, that's all he
Oh,
is.
yeah.
There's
So,
only
yeah.
one
the only
pickup.
pickup we
What
have.
about the red one ton? Whose is that out there?
That's
It's
Benji's.
Benji's
That's Benji's.
personal.
Personal
That's his
drop.
personal one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna loan that out.
I mean, I went by I didn't stick my head in the White Farms we went by this weekend, but I didn't.
No, all
I
the
didn't
ones,
see
I've
much
checked,
of
and all the ones that are over there are usually
And
junk,
I've
'cause
been
they haven't
after the
gotten
guy to
approved
give
yet
me
to
a
get 'em.
price for the budgets,
Yeah.
and they haven't done that yet.
So so if we're waiting for state bid, what are we thinking we want? In my mind, I'm thinking
It
like
doesn't,
a
it doesn't
Colorado.
even, yeah, it does not even have to be a pickup. You could give him a Jeep,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? No, not a
Yeah,
As long as
CJ,
it's
but
all-wheel drive or
it just
four-wheel
needs to
drive.
be something to
We'll get them
get
a
to.
Ford Escape or
well,
something.
yeah,
Sure,
that's
money.
Well, that's the thing is, it's not just he that uses it, it's also Parker that uses it at times, and there are times they need Park,
Yes, that's
Parks and
right.
Recreation.
He does
Oh, they
use it,
do.
you're
They
right.
do use it, and they need the use of a pickup truck.
Right.
So that's why I'm
So
thinking
you
like
like
a Colorado.
or something like
Something
that.
There aren't
small.
many of those up there in Concord right now, I'll tell you.
No, but, no, I'm talking state bid. Take White's Park out of, if we're.
No, I'm talking about there's not many Colorados.
There's not
so
many
just-
anything out there,
No, because they're not.
except for the
short.
$100,000 Denali's sitting at banks right now.
Yeah, we're not buying one of them.
No.
Come on.
Now, we've crossed this bridge before with vehicles.
Yeah.
Granted, the department's had other vehicles, but we've crossed this bridge before. I don't have, I'm not denying what you're saying, but we also have nothing in print that says what's wrong with it.
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
What actually ails this thing?
Is it just rust or?
No.
Usually there's a brake issue.
That low-speed activation you're talking about, like the brakes just going to the floor when you get to the stop sign, it's a wheel bearing. That's not brakes, that's a wheel
It's
bearing.
just a
issue.
sensor.
Yeah, it's a sensor, it's rust jacked out.
Right.
It happens to mine seasonally.
Right.
So that's not the end of the world. That's $500 repair.
Have we actually got quotes to repair it?
That's the other side of it too, is
I
yes,
gave you guys the quote, well, which included the body work was
Yeah, it was
6,000.
almost 6,000.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
I don't-
way
I don't remember
back.
seeing
Yeah,
that.
he did. He came in about a month ago.
No, it would have been 2 months ago when I
Maybe
first
2
even
months.
brought it up.
I don't even remember, I don't remember
Yeah, he
seeing
Yeah,
did.
that.
it
He came in
was-
with it and gave us a whole price on
I
it.
don't remember any of that.
Yeah, it,
Maybe I
Benji
wasn't
dropped-
here.
Over
Benji
6
dropped
grand.
it off, it was over
Like
6 grand.
6,400 bucks.
Yeah.
What,
I wasn't here for
what
that.
about a lease for a couple of years?
You know, you,
The thing is again, and I understand no means no.
Well, if we put a warrant article forward for purchasing, we can still repair, even if the vote says no.
yeah, you repair the old one.
We can repair, right. Because-
Or the
because-
other thing, if you find one at the end of the year, if that's what you're thinking, you call around. For instance, Irwin Ford, they always order extra. They'll have stuff that's 2 years old, that's brand new, sitting on
Right.
the lot, giving it away now.
I would like to see this,
Bid.
I would like to see, say, let's just put in a rough number, 30,000 put on the end of your purchase. But I would want to see it as a zero tax impact warrant article to come from this year's money and put it in front of the taxpayer.
It has to go before the voters, yes.
That the vehicle purchase has to go in front of the taxpayer, in my opinion.
Yep.
Agreed.
Do it that way.
But we can hold the money and say, you know, we have this money, it's gonna be zero tax impact, but yay or nay? To me,
We
You
did
can
that with
encumber it
PD
for that
cruisers a
time
couple
until
years.
they turn around, and if they vote no, then you just put it back in.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because my thought is, to me, to stick with what we've done with vehicles, PD, DPW, fire, all along, if it's got tires, it's always going in front of the voters. So I have no problem using this year's money with their approval.
So, what kind of vehicle do we want to get? We've heard multiple styles, so.
Well,
Well, if you're gonna do it
Well,
that
I
way, you
wouldn't,
don't, it's
you
not
wouldn't
your
name it down to a specific brand or,
I think 30K would cover it,
yeah.
Small pickup truck.
right?
pickup.
It'll cover a
Well, I
small
ju-
pickup on state bid.
If we're going for a pickup, then I 100% agree, yes.
Yeah, if we're going for Denali, we need to put in a couple zeros on there, but I don't think we
You
are.
gotta
I
go
think
for
there's
a
gonna be a lot of people
small,
saying no.
Right, so,
compact pickup,
but I think a
four-wheel
small,
drive.
a Colorado or a Ranger or something like that,
Be a
30K.
Toyota Tundra for that matter.
30K would cover
Not
it,
a
so I think
Tundra,
that's
but a
something, a number,
What do you-
Tacoma.
Yeah.
I think, so I think,
I think a
and
Nissan's
y'all can
cheaper.
agree with
I
me
was
if I'm
looking at
wrong,
prices.
I think that we put 30K on that list that's coming from Naomi for a vehicle to be, like you said, encumbered and voted on.
Just put it on the spreadsheet and hopefully we,
Put it on the
hopefully,
spreadsheet, right?
hopefully, we can get the state bids here. Do we know when they're supposed to come out?
Should be out now, but they've,
They're late.
They're late.
Okay.
So
Administrative
put
Services
30K
has
on the
not done
next
it.
list.
On the list we're gonna see Monday.
With other stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
To be
And I'll
informed.
see if Bill, I'll get a hold of Bill tomorrow and see if
To
he
see if he can do
yeah.
something, at least
Tighten up some numbers.
some more solid numbers for the two sites, plus a little bit extra.
Okay.
Plus everything you've got there in front of you, minus what we voted on tonight.
Yeah.
I guess we
Yeah.
jumped over manifest and gone to
No, we
correspondence
haven't
and
gotten
other
that far
business.
yet.
Yeah, well, kind of, yeah. Yeah, we kinda get carried away there. All right, so, all right, brings us to the manifesto. That's me.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
have-
short this
I
week.
don't have one.
Awesome. Order the treasurer to sign the payroll accounts payables checks dated December 23rd, 2021, including the following manifest. Payroll manifest of $86,043.83. Supplemental payroll of $1,122.80. Accounts payable of $20,793.33. Ware School District for $300,000. John Stark for $250,000, for a total of $657,959.96. The following manifests were previously ordered to be signed at December 6th, 2021 meeting of the Board of Selectmen. A payroll manifest of $67,729.02 for weekly payroll checks dated 12/16. Accounts payable $40,819.89 for checks dated 12/16. And supplemental accounts payable manifest of $3,650 for check dated 12/16. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Minutes. That's us. I gotta find them now. I got about a zillion freaking messages right now.
How about we just skip the minutes till next week? Almost 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yep.
20 of it.
Said it wasn't gonna be late.
Okay. Your report.
There isn't much on it, to be honest with you.
Excellent.
I've been in that tax office, so
Yep.
I'm trying to do what I can do. Electric vehicle ex officio. Just tell everybody we're closed Friday and next Friday. Next Friday for New Year's, this Friday for Christmas
Christmas
Eve.
Eve, yeah.
Wish everybody Merry Christmas. Next week you have a meeting for the public hearing. Your in purchases you already did.
What time is that? 6:30? Or
7.
7?
Can't remember what I told him. It's on that, John's the one who said it to me.
Yeah, we were working on 14. Mm-hmm.
7 o'clock.
7.
Perfect.
7 p.m. Bill inspector, year-end purchases schedule. And, East-West Station, the furnace is in. We're just waiting on Irving. It's gonna be a few weeks. Riverdale, Riverdale, they were supposed to start last week with the wetlands and the sign. And I couldn't get a hold of the older gentleman. I told him just, if he comes out, just knock on the door and talk with him.
Okay.
So that project has started. I don't know if the weather's messed them up. And Tim is in the process of doing upstairs, which actually has worked out very well.
Since you've
'cause-
been down here.
Well, I've been down here, and Karen's on vacation.
Yeah, so you can do
So
those
it's
two.
really been, because he said to open the windows
Disturbance-free.
and do
Yeah.
the, so it's been kinda nice. That's all I will leave you
So,
with.
the East-West Station is gonna be a couple of weeks for Irving gets in there.
No, for
We're gonna
Irving,
rent it out to hang meat in there, or
Oh, right now the trailer's in there.
it's gonna be some cold in
I
there
put it in-
after the past
I
few
put it in there
nights.
Saturday. So it'll be out of the way.
Yeah, I
Plowing.
was just saying, you could hang meat in there now, probably after last night.
It was 43 in there Saturday.
can I just, I know it's, you guys wanna go, I just have a
Yeah,
quick,
that's fine.
non-public
Yep.
under C.
Correspondence of the business?
Yeah, I got one thing on the, well,
Maybe.
I think I can do it this way. Everybody's been getting emails about a situation.
Yes, we're gonna meet, what?
I don't know if
understand
that's so
that.
much
I
non-public,
understand
isn't it?
that, but I think my personal feeling is, I think we need to look at the body camera also, so that we're all on the same page, because I understand,
Yeah, I had the body camera on.
Yeah.
she's gonna have access
I
to it,
never
why
seen
can't
it.
we have access to it? So we understand what's, to
That's
me,
fine.
I don't know.
You're not gonna get a copy, you have to make your appointment and go visit it.
And go visit
Why
it.
don't you just bring it into the board and let
Never
us
mind.
review it instead of going
Yeah,
on?
Yeah.
let us all
You
review,
can put up on the screen, I
put it
think,
on the screen.
maybe.
Well,
Well, I'll try to ask him
well,
that,
when are you
but-
gonna have?
Well,
it
he's
in?
on vacation. You're not gonna see him until
You're not
after
gonna
our
see him
scheduled
till
meeting.
after.
Right.
His, or is it somebody else's?
No, it's the police department, so it should be
Yeah,
able to
but I
make.
mean, each officer has a body camera. so-
Right.
Right, but it's
Wasn't
on an
his, it
SD
was-
card, it's not like comes right out of the camera.
No, so I
Just-
mean,
Just my thought.
Right,
how many officers ran the body camera? That's my question.
all of them,
Well, are they
believe.
supposed to?
yeah. All right, that it?
That's it.
Anything?
Park, ex officio update, because we've been asked to do that.
Thank you, John.
Parks and Rec is putting together Christmas baskets for some elderly folks in town, and we'll be delivering them this weekend like we did last year.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. Been rather uneventful.
The tree looks nice.
Tree does look nice. We have some gravity issues with the tree.
Gravity and
Yep.
wind.
Been down 3
Yeah,
times.
did you notice the lights
I
all
put
went
it
up
up
to the
once.
top?
Gravitationally challenged.
Yeah, so, but we've got nothing but compliments on it,
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
exception of one person, but there's always one in the crowd.
That's right.
Can't please everybody.
I guess it impressed one couple enough that they had requested, they filled out were going to fill out a field use permit, but we told them they didn't need to. This couple is actually chosen to, get married, in the gazebo in the next couple of days. I'm not gonna mention what day for their own privacy, specifically because of the tree and the way it's decorated.
Wow, that's cool.
That's kinda cool.
Yep. So
That's
to that
awesome.
couple,
Yeah, great.
congratulations.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And that's all I have.
That's
All right,
nice.
ex officio update, Stone Fund did meet. We awarded 4 checks this time. I think it was a total of $1,600 that was dispersed. So,
Nice, very nice.
for different needs of of, you know,
Still nothing
residents.
for the planning board.
Well, you haven't met the whole month of December, so.
No, and I don't think the one for
You
the
did the last,
13th.
no, you met the 18th and that was it.
No, I'm saying, that I think there's one scheduled for the 13th
Yeah.
of January, and there isn't much on that one either, I don't think.
No.
Conservation?
Well, she's not the ex officio, but she can inform us.
Oh, I'm trying to think what we even talked about.
Well,
Oh, it was the whole meeting, a good portion of the meeting was a discussion on
The
Duck Pond
the
Road.
Duck Pond property, okay. Okay.
That actually
Alright.
brings something up I did want to maybe slate for another meeting. The request was made, and I think it's a legitimate request, and I think Jack has brought this up years past, potentially be putting a time limit on public comment.
Yep, I'll go with that.
per-
I brought that up since the day I was on the
Yep.
board.
And the number that was
Topics.
brought up was 5 minutes. I was thinking more like 3 minutes.
I think 5 is acceptable, though.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is.
But it puts a time limit on it.
Yeah, put a time limit.
Yep. So if the board's okay with that, then we just need to have somebody be,
Timekeeper.
yep.
Need clock set first.
Yeah.
Oh, I just gotta get
Oh,
a
I
battery.
can set clock.
What do you want, three
I think it's
minutes?
5.
5 minutes.
5, yeah.
Does that need to be a motion or just,
I think
Just
it's
a
just,
house
I think it's
rule.
just a
don't
house
think it
rule.
needs a-
No,
Okay.
house rule.
yep.
so from going forward, public comment will be listed, will be limited to 5 minutes per person.
Or they can take a, they can get a line
Spot
item,
on the agenda.
spot on the agenda.
Anything over that, agreed.
Right, so, all right, anything else
Just see quickly if you don't
to
mind.
see? Okay. Nothing? Okay, we're gonna go in non-public under, C, and we'll adjourn afterwards, so I move to go in non-public under RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2C.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, roll call, yes, yes,
Yes.
yes?
Yes.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, have yourself a wonderful Christmas,
We'll be adjourning afterwards.
and we'll be adjourning afterwards.